Hey, 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 hey. Watch 40k every day. Welcome to Game 6 of the Australian 40k ITC Championships. This is Cancon, baby. This is round 6 of Cancon, and we are showing you the top table because that is what the people demanded. We're giving you
And
what you
I am
want.
currently coming through.
I can hear you barely. Sort out some technical stuff because we're trying to get a very select group of gentlemen on board so they can hear us, we can hear them, and they can chat to you. Where are we at with that?
It's a good question.
So while we're doing that, how are we going, guys? We've got 16 people joined in. I might take us a minute to acknowledge our sponsors. Right now we have the Army Painters logo and hashtag going across the bottom, filling our scoring text. Get more from your hobby for gaming when you use the Army Painter. Coloured primers, sprays, war paints, quick shades, etc. They are a great organisation and they have backed us for this stream, coming on as a sponsor. And they are just an amazing company, run for hobbyists, by hobbyists, to benefit hobbyists, to make painting your army quick and easy so you can jump on. We've got a crazy echo.
Yes, they cover colour primer sprays, wall paints, quick shades. Crazy echo. All right, we're working on that. Let's.
Can you guys hear me all right then? Is the echo still coming through on my end? And what are you up to? You going for a roam?
I've got to check some secondaries for them. I think there's some. I think they're going to be concerned about time, so I just want to make sure we stay on that and remove some angst. So fingers crossed. Can people hear me in the stream? And am I less echoing now that I'm nowhere near Adam?
Well, I can hear you now pretty fine. Can you guys hear me okay? So we're fiddling with a lot of different technology, a lot of different devices on the fly, so things can go awry for unexpected reasons. Please let us know if we're coming through all right. Hey, we just got a follow. Oh, delay sandwich. Yep, all clear. That is much better. Fantastic. Please feel free. Yeah, feel free. Lay as much crap on us as you want. We can take it. Yes, we have Jeremy Martino versus Erik Luthouris.
Alright, cool. I'll get it away.
Alright, what do you got to tell us, Jez?
So they haven't quite picked the secondaries yet. They're still smashing out deployment. We've got, as you can see on the stream, quite a few guardsmen and quite a few gaunts. The Death Watch have all look like they've already been put down, but it's still hard to tell which ones are just currently roughly placed versus ones that are actually deployed.
Fantastic. What deployment have they got? Is that just Dawn of War?
Pardon?
Sorry, what deployment have they got?
What deployment?
Looks like Dawn of War.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Dawn of War. At first I thought it might have been pointy Dawn of War, but no, there's models that are just in the middle of the table that are he's just chucked in. So the Gaunts, you'll see just how quick Erik is with his deployment. He's bashing that out like a fiend. Or maybe it's more like a Ravener.
So what's up?
Maybe it's more like a Ravener. Bad joke.
You're coming through really faint on this, by the way. No, this is Erik's first game on stream. We've avoided putting him on because he's such a strong player, and we knew we were going to have to put him on regardless anyway, because tomorrow we're putting on the top table each game, because that's just the right thing to do for the last 2 rounds. But this is the top table right now, because that's what you guys wanted to see. So we're going to give you what you want. So Erik Luthouris, I'm just going to go through lists for you really quickly. So Erik, unless you got something to say, Jez? Sorry, Josh?
I'm just coming back. They're gonna. I'll go back over there after.
Right, let's get this sit pro.
Stay there.
Sure. Oh, I like my headphones, mate. They're mine.
I'm gonna have to switch back.
Well, fine. All right, go and go through lists, guys. Erik Luthouris, he is running a Leviathan battalion with a Neurothrope and a Malanthrope. The Malanthrope is his warlord. Then he has a unit of 25 termagants, 25 termagants, 26 termagants, 26 termagants, 27 termagants, 27 termagants. No idea why he's got him in escalating like that. I'm guessing he's got a little bit of OCD, like we all do. and he just liked them in order. Then he's got two Biovores. Then he has a Kraken detachment with Old One Eye, a Broodlord, 3 Inch Rippers, 3 each, a Supreme Command detachment with a Magnus, a Primarch, a Patriarch, and 18 Pure Strain Gene Stealers. So he has pretty much 180 gaunts. We have coined this the Gaunt Carpet list. As you can see by his deploying, it is literally a carpet of gaunts. Then he backed up by that, he has some really punchy characters. He's got a he's technically got 2 Broodlords and Old One Eye. He's got really good psychic powers from the Magus. The Primarch is a Psyker, and so is his Neurothrope. And on top of that, he's got 2 Biovores for shenanigans and reserve points for a Spore Field.
Yep. So...
What do you guys think of the list in the chat? Are we chatting to it yet?
So it looks like we've got a few people on Discord, and I'm coming through.
We're here in the Discord, boys. Are they in here at all? Hello, who can hear me? What do we got going on here?
We're just going to drop off the Discord just for a second while I work out some technical difficulties.
He's got some technical difficulties, guys. It's not surprising. It is necessary, though. We'll be right back with you. In the meantime, we will go through Jeremy Martino's list. He has a Death Watch Battalion with a Librarian with a Jump Pack, a Watch Master. Deep of them is Warlord. He has 5 veterans. Sorry, a unit of veterans. He's got a Biker, 3 Terminators, 1 Vanguard veteran, and then each one of his Terminators has a Cyclone missile launcher. So he's got 3 Terminators, each one with a Cyclone missile launcher. Then he's got 5 Mooks with Storm Bolts and Storm Shields, just veterans. Then he has his Biker, he has his Vanguard veteran, and he has his... Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So that's his 10 guys, and he's got that times 3. So they're well kitted out to face just about anything that comes his way. Past that, he has a battalion of essentially a loyal 32, but he's got a unit of conscripts, 30 conscripts, and 2 mortars in the infantry squads. And then he has a Wyvern. Then lastly, he has a super heavy auxiliary with a Knight Crusader. And this guy is House Crast. I'm guessing most likely it's going to be his Warlord most of the time, unless he's going for one of... his company commander one of his company commanders is Warlord. I'm guessing he's going to go for Grand Strategist. Or, probably Grand Strategist. Get the CP back. He does not have a hell of a lot. He's got 2 battalions, but Death Watch can be thirsty depending on how you're using them. And on top of that, there is quite a few ways to burn them with the Knight also.
Yeah, so what we're just going to do is try something out a little bit here. I'm going to try something out a little bit here that could go horribly wrong. Let's give it a go.
We are prepared. My soul is prepared. So you look at how quickly they've deployed, guys. How far are we into this? We are 8 minutes into this round. And they have virtually finished their deployment phase. He has deployed almost 180 gaunts, and he's done a good job of it. He's got a good structure to it. They're all bubbled out. Yes, he plays a lot, and he's a very smart man.
So can you now hear clicking or typing?
Nope, I cannot.
Nope, never mind. All right, let's switch that back. That didn't work.
So what do you guys think of these 2 lists? Give us some comments. Tell us what you think.
All right, so we are going to try this one more time. Let's put this bad boy in for a sec.
All right, so where are we at, man?
All right, so you are coming through. This headset's coming through the Discord.
Yep.
So I won't be on that one.
So in theory...
Hello.
All right. I'm getting Adam through the Discord. So I'm going to... Who's got that mic?
Totally not panicked. What a shitty looking Knight. That is one of Michael Hamilton's best mates, Lachlan Morrison's Crusader that we're seeing on the board. I'm hearing some music.
Adam, can you hear me?
Barely.
Barely. All right, that's close enough.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna run with that. All right, so we have the Tabletop guys. Yes, the Tabletop guys. I think we have 3. I'm gonna say 3.
Sound off, lads. Who we got in here?
Sound off, and we'll see how we go. Let's start with Sean.
Howdy, everyone. Abuse Puppy from Chapter Tactics and In the Finest Hour and whatnot.
Fantastic. Who else we got in here,
All
guys?
right. And we'll go with Val.
What are you doing? He's going to Roman. He's going to Roman again, guys. He's leaving me to fly solo. He knows I can take it. Who else we got in here? Have we got Pete in here? Have we got Pablo in here? I'd have to say we do not.
Just wanted me to point out
That is okay. All right, so jumping straight into this, it looks like we haven't had a roll for first turn yet, and we're about to kick off. Jeremy's knight is a Knight Crusader. He's got it there because it is a better horde clearing unit than a Crusader. A Crusader, unfortunately, doesn't have the quantity of shots to reliably take care of the horde meta in which we have at the moment. I'm hearing some typing.
Sorry?
Typing?
Yeah, so I think Falcon's currently smashing out lists for data for LVO. So I think while Falcon's not talking, you might need to mute off if that's okay.
Yeah, sounds good. I am here. I will be doing that. I think Sean's right now the one that's being the master typer, though. I've been
really?
waiting a little
I'm the
quietly
master
there.
typer.
Yeah, he's slamming the keyboard. He must be very angry.
There's so many people wrong on the internet. I have to tell them.
All right.
Any chance he's going to come through that?
In theory, we're gonna chuck them both on for a sec.
Chucking both on?
Yeah. You heard me. We're working with technology here that's well beyond our.
Progressive. Down to the network. Progressive. As in getting
So,
progressively worse. Looks like Erik has got the top of turn 1, and he is going to move out. Erik is what I would call a master of the movement phase, so it's prepared to see some stuff you might not understand, but it'll all make sense in time.
Yeah. All right. Can you hear me now in any of the
Barely on
headsets?
this one.
Coming through on Discord. I have the Twitch muted currently.
Yeah, good plan on that one. Because so we are just trying to make sure that we get the Discord loud and clear through Adam's headset.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a very close game out of this, guys. With the color, these two are possibly the two.
How about
best
that now,
players in
mate? Can you hear me through the main headset?
Yep.
Speak again.
Adam Camilleri, which
Yeah,
headset
it's
can
coming
you hear me
better.
through?
This one.
You good?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah.
All right,
Sounds good.
cool. Okay,
All right, we're good to go.
so
guys.
fingers crossed, we've managed to get this shit to work. Alright. These guys know what they're doing. I don't need to do shit. I love it.
RMC Gaming,
Alright.
thanks for the host.
So,
Much appreciated.
I think on the most part you can see, just checking out the deployment, you can pretty much see everything from the camera. But there's a few units, I guess, underneath ruins that I just point out. Nothing overly overly surprising. There's some infantry guardsmen under that bottom level, but everything else is pretty clear. Yeah, nothing overly exciting as far as hidden characters underneath levels and behind walls and all that sort of.
I just want you guys to know that Erik has only once out of
And
these
I'll
6
come up with
games
that.
has not
That
made
was an easy one.
round 6 with
That
his
was a real
180
easy one.
moves.
Yeah, I mean, Eric's list doesn't have a lot of options for how it deploys. It kind of goes onto the table the way that it is.
That's absolutely correct. It's pretty much a set deployment. It's just where he positions the characters inside the big ass ball of Tyranids.
Yep.
He likes to do a little bit of a horseshoe. You see how he does? It's like a comb with little divots. or a saw blade, and that's where he pushes back your deployment through doing that, but he denies you good range on a multitude of units by doing it. Now, it's something that he does all the time. It's like his little legs coming out from his big ball of Tyranids.
Okay, so I think we're okay. The sound's coming through on the chat. By the sounds of it, mic seems low.
No, it's been fixed. I think it's all right.
Been fixed. And Discord can hear Adam okay?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, but you can't hear Adam. All right.
I don't believe so, no.
That's okay. That's okay. We will... Whoa. Stop. Jeez, that was brutal. Yeah, we're trying to get the one headset to go through Twitch and Discord. Not sure how it worked so easily when we were doing it yesterday and how it suddenly decided to play up today. We are... Alright, I know what we're doing. We're getting that headset back. It's all magic. We're also putting these underneath. Or just one?
This little game of musical headsets you got going is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, guys. I can hear you, Sean. I can hear you loud and clear now. How are you doing?
I can hear you.
Well, I've got you pretty sound quality there, Adam. I think you're good to go.
Woo-hoo! Finally. I got you clear, nice and clear as well. How do you like to look at this game, Peter?
It's going to be interesting. That is a lot of Termagants that all those Stormbolters have to get through. Not sure if they're going to be able to do it.
It's going to be hard. I honestly think it's a bold statement, but I think he needs to get the knight in combat.
I think it's a bold move, Carton.
Well, he's probably going to dance it in and out of combat just to make full use of its abilities.
But he needs to avoid Old One Eye. Can't get anywhere near Old One Eye.
Old One Eye is a serious problem. The advantage he does have is Old One Eye can't be too aggressive because he will be able to clear a lot of that Termagant screen if he decides to.
So if
he just dives in there with Stormbolters and chews them to pieces, then he can easily strip quite a lot of models real quickly.
Absolutely right. He's struck down a few Spore Mines. As you can see, there's a Spore Mine off to the left, and just down here. And Erik is a magician. He loves Spore Mines. It's like the gimmick he's been...
Spore Mines are incredibly good, especially against Knights.
Oh, they're so annoying.
One of the interesting things you'll see that Jeremy is doing is he's actually bubble wrapped his Knight, which stops Erik from putting the Spore Mines near it, as you can't place them near any model, not just the target. So those Biovores are still going to do a lot of work. Mortal Wounds are fantastic against Deathwatch, but they're not going to be able to control the Knight's movement the way they would against a lesser player.
That's correct. Look, Jeremy has gone back-to-back best ITC player in Australia, and he was very close, and some say robbed in 2010. He could be a 3-time champ, but instead he's a 2-time champ. If he wins it, I don't think he's going to win the ITC, because he's had a bit of a gap here, but he'll win Cancon for the 3rd time, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it shows with the way he's deployed and the army he's brought. A lot of people are still underestimating Deathwatch, but they're really good.
Oh, absolutely. Now, one thing I will say Jeremy needs to be very careful of, is with his teleport homers. Because of the Spore Mines, he's going to place his teleport homers down in his backfield so he can be aggressive. But if the Spore Mines get too close and turn out to teleport homers, he's just lost that unit.
Yeah. Because the teleport homers are not units, but the Spore Mines will still pop them. Yeah.
So that's a big play that Erik's got in his favour. And more than that, it's actually more psychological than anything else. Just to make Jeremy second guess when he pulls the trigger, and when he jumps in, when he invests, when he gets aggressive. And he honestly might not be able to. He almost... I mean, if he had the beta bolter rules in, he just sits at 24 inches. Doesn't Now, but he has to get to 12 if he wants to have any chance of clearing the Termagant block.
Yeah, to just kill the whole thing, although his numbers are surprisingly high because presumably he took his tactic against troops, which is essentially all that Erik has.
Absolutely.
So he is going to be able to chew those to pieces pretty hard.
And he's also he's actually a watch master. I believe he's got a watch master in there. Well, he's got the standard watch captain, he's got a watch master. So he's got full
watch
rerolls.
Master and Librarian.
And he gives himself +1 to wound, so he's already. So he's hitting on 3s rerolling, or hitting on 4s with the Malin Throat, and wounding on 2s rerolling. So he can definitely do a lot of work.
Yeah. That's why I think he has the firepower to clear all these gaunts. This is kind of a nightmare for Erik's army because he doesn't really have the hitting power to get through things. Yep. And even something like Old One Eye, as long as you're screening with those storm shields, is just going to bounce off them.
Yeah, exactly right. He does have the 20 pure strength Gene Stealers, I believe. 18 pure strength. Yeah, he's going to hold them in his pocket. He'll bring them out when he needs to counterpunch if Jeremy gets within good range. But apart from that, he's just going to have it as a threat.
The Gene Stealers will actually struggle a lot, though, because Auspex Scan is going to mostly shred a unit of them.
Exactly
and then he's going to have to eat Overwatch 2, and even once he gets into combat, the Death Watch are no joke. Like, he interrupts and punches back pretty hard.
Because if he cuts the unit in half before it connects, the odds are he does not kill that unit, they get to get back. Especially when they've got 2+ saves and 3+ inbounds to leverage. Past that, though, there are some good pieces of line-side blocking terrain he can leverage with the Cure Strings. That orange L Ruin is certainly one that I'd be looking at deploying those in. And you can almost keep them in there. There's only mortars and a Wyvern for line-of-sight shooting. Although if he double shoots the Wyvern, he can do considerable damage to those Gene Stealers in cover. But he could pop them into that L-shaped Ruin and keep them there as a threat out of line of sight. Another deterrent for Jeremy to getting aggressive. But we are already into, looks like Jeremy's shooting phase. We've had Erik score 1 point for his first turn, which would be holding an objective.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting that he went for ground control. I guess this is a 4-objective mission, so that's not completely terrible, but I never like ground control.
So it's a 5-objective mission, but same difference.
Oh, okay, there is the one in the center there. I see.
So it looks like they're just rolling. I don't think Jeremy's moving phase. I think he's going straight into the shooting phase.
He did. He backed up the unit on the bottom left. They'd taken a couple casualties from, I think, the Biovores. But other than that, he didn't do a whole lot of movement.
Well, he doesn't really need to. This game is largely on Erik to come and get him because if they maintain sort of the status quo here, Jeremy is just going to take him apart piece by piece.
He's got 30-inch range on those Stormbolters if he needs it, and the Knight is pumping out depending on if he took the Relic, he's got the 12 shots, 14 maybe. Like it's going to do work.
Yeah. It's, the -1 is obnoxious, and the 6-up Feel No Pain as well, but it's not enough to hold him off for the whole game. Certainly not with that many guys.
And it's not like the entire army has it, right? So.
Yeah.
Here's something very interesting. How does Jeremy get to take the lead away from Erik now that we know Erik's going to be up 3-1 at the end of this turn?
He takes it by killing units. He's got the indirect fire to finish things off.
It's all going to hinge on the Wyvern and the mortar.
The Wyvern and the mortars are going to be really big because he uses the Death Watch to chop things down, and then he finishes them off with those indirect fire. So his plan is probably to tie 3-3 for the early turns, and then take the game later on when he can move out and Erik has just lost all his firepower.
Yeah, I think he plays it like a Tau would play, right? You suck up the chance that your first couple turns you may or may not lose on points just because by the end of the game you'll have killed everything, right? So,
100%,
do you want to talk some stats?
Yeah, I might just do one last little sound checky bit. I've been playing around with the audio, trying to get things a little cleaner. A bit of feedback coming from the chat. Can the guys from Chat Tactics still hear me coming through?
Yep.
Yeah, here you just fine.
Okay. How about you guys in the chat? Can you hear me come through now pretty clear? Might get a little bit of a delay there. do I have to start? All right.
Looks like
cool.
it's good.
Everyone sounds like it's good. All right, Adam, do you want to I'm pretty sure everyone's been hearing Adam, so we are good to rumble. Chap Chats, you can hear Adam quite clearly, can't you?
Yeah, yep, for sure. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Technology. We're 27 minutes into the stream. But, a lot of that was actually starting soon while the round started a little, I want to say a little late. But they've also allocated a little bit more time. So I think they did they had some stuffing around to do. So Peter will probably cry when he hears what I'm about to say. But so BCP is being used. That's not cry-worthy. That's but the TOs. The TOs have used. They've allowed players to enter scores previously, and the headache they had with fixing the scores after each round from mistake on mistake on mistake, they decided that this year players were going to be entering paper score sheets, and they openly said in their player briefing, "We do not trust you. Bring those score sheets up, and we are entering the scores." So.
Oh, that's incredible.
So they're just entering the final victory points, and we worked out why some of the score sheets, so why some of the stats from Down Under Pairings varied from what was on Battlescribe. So, for example, there's quite a few examples, but basically what happened was a number of players would tick the kill one and hold one, and then write in the total box 3. Then some would get kill more, and they wouldn't get kill 1. It was really basically some pretty horrible data entry. I can't explain how they got to what they got to, but in a nutshell, we are using Down Under Pairings results for stats only, not for any rankings or anything like that. So we were more interested in the boxes that were ticked than the total score. So, for example, some of the scores may have been in BCP as like a 27 when they were a 28, or maybe they were a 26 in Down Under Pairings. And that's because, we had to make the judgment call on which ones we were going with. There's a mixture of right and wrong in there, and I don't think there's anything anyone can do about that. It's disappointing. But it is what it is.
Despite that, though, we still have amazing.
We have a shitload of stats.
We have a shitload of stats.
So also I worked out what the issue was with the detachments, and that was people not following the Battlescribe format. So, and it was only a small thing, but it was just not having a comma. So, there were 2 lists only, where based on the fact them not having a comma, it was like, I can't remember the exact number, but like 30 power level and, 1,000 points. And so it was showing up that attachment as 31,000 points, which of course is a lot. But anyway,
Yes.
it was literally 2 detachments that were throwing the numbers all out of whack, which is how we got the situation where Tau looked like it was doubled. Tau is back in the numbers it should be, and Knights is back at the top at where we thought it was going to be in the first place.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's dive on into some secondaries while we jump through the movement phase, because I think that's where we might start seeing some interesting stats. So we've now got 4 rounds of data. We're hammering round 5 into spreadsheets. We've got the lovely Chelsea, who is, let's say hi, Chelsea. We bought her dinner last night, and
we'll buy her dinner again tonight.
Buy her dinner again. That's Matt Morrisoli's better half.
Okay.
Much better half.
Yeah.
Much better.
Much better half. So
he never does data entry for us.
So Chelsea's come along. The weather is stupid hot, and we said, do you want to give us a hand? She said, yeah, I'll bring my laptop. And So we have
Yeah.
the stats are a lot lower after 4 rounds. So the first 3 rounds, the average secondaries was much higher. I don't have a round by round, but we had it somewhere along, I think it was a little over 2.5 victory points. So I'm going to have to go per secondary. So I might have to go through and work out where the big jumps have gone, but we're seeing some really much lower averages there.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I was curious as to if there might have been like a data entry error, because some of these were, well above 3 points per selection, and now they're down to around 1, right? So.
Yeah. So look, it's a tough one. We can only really go by the data we've got. We also had a number of score sheets where the secondaries weren't entered, so they're just not listed there. So I mean, in theory, we should have a lot more there. I think the interesting thing, at least, is we can start looking at the trends of which ones are being used more than others. Old school still sitting at the top.
Yeah.
After we told everyone on the stream it was the wrong choice.
It was the worst.
It's only the wrong choice sometimes. It's not always the right choice.
You're right. I say that in a little bit in jest. Yeah.
So am I correct in saying it's the most selected, least scored secondary?
Most selected, least. Well, it's not the least scored.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same as ground
no,
control.
the least scored is ground control. But I'm going to do a nasty little dump. That sounded data dump.
What's going on here?
Yeah. This is in a completely different direction.
Everything's off the rails.
Yep.
But on a bucket, so it's okay.
Yeah. So we're we're actually hammering through. They're not ticking all the right boxes on their score sheets, but we're
into the top of turn 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've selected something that they shouldn't have. That's all right. Well, I'll just clear that out. All right. Yeah. So basically, we had hold 1, hold more to Erik, which was not really surprising, and then the hold 1 to Jeremy, and no secondaries whatsoever scored. Which I think for that first turn, it was both players are very defensive, cagey players. I think this is going to be a very low-scoring game unless something goes horribly wrong. To one of the players.
I'll point out one thing for you right now. So that veteran squad on the bottom left has one Terminator left in it. I'm assuming that's literally just Bivors and a bunch of Termagants pounding into it from across the board, whatever's in range. But it's down to one guy left. I hope that's not just two Bivors shooting at it for 2 turns, because that's a horrible return. Past that, he has scored 4 on his primaries now, so he's actually killed a unit somehow, and he's holding an objective, and he's probably going to get hold ball this turn as well. Now we're seeing Jeremy starting to break out on his right flank. He's going to go and try and put some pressure and try and get at least he's not going to get hold more, but he's going to deny it to Erik, which is something he needs to start doing.
Yeah, I would actually expect Jeremy to hold parity this turn as well. He can very plausibly get kill 1 and hold even. And the other thing to remember is Erik has Recon, which he is not getting currently. Jeremy has Reaper, which is essentially 4 free points at the end of the game.
Exactly right.
So the long game 100% favors Jeremy here. Erik really needs to be more aggressive than he currently is, I think. I'm not entirely sure what his plan is. I don't play his army, so I can't say for sure, but I feel like he is playing into a losing situation at this point.
That's fair call. Look, this is usually how we see Erik play, and he usually wins from this position. He doesn't usually play someone of Jeremy's caliber, though. So Jeremy
Morrisoli. I think what we've
by 2 points.
Yeah, it was a close game.
Very close game.
So Erik is, as I said before, a very cagey player. One of the reasons why he will get all his turns is he will go for the hold 1, hold more, and try and deny as many points as possible. And so far, look, we'll see if that's going to pay off. I'll throw it out there. It's a bold move, Carton.
Almost reached the quota. We need one more for the stream.
Yeah, he's certainly doing all right so far, but don't think anyone argues that he's not going to be playing on the back foot by the turn 5 rolls around. The long game just doesn't favor him. So I'm curious what he thinks his path to victory is here.
Well, I think his path to victory is winning by 1 point. I think that's his plan. His plan is to win by 1 point. And as long as he stays ahead, look, it's hard to deny that. But I do agree with you. I think Jeremy's going to be either in front or on equal points at the end of this turn. And I think we're going to see some things from Erik that will surprise. So I really do not think Jeremy's got the right play in putting that vet squad up on the right flank, because those Gene Stealers can pop up inside that L-shaped ruin and charge them from that position if they do charge into the Termagants. And then you've just lost another vet squad, probably for a full squad of Termagants, but that is an exchange that Erik will take every day.
The thing is, depending on if Jeremy charges those guys to clear the objective, he can actually deny that Orange Ruin to Erik as a valid location to arrive in.
If he sees that play coming and he moves aggressively towards it as well, he can certainly deny that. And if he absolutely should. Either that or he's walking into a trap.
It's a trap.
I can't say what he is necessarily doing there, but that would certainly be my thought. It's like it's easy to forget. Like Deathwatch guys punch hard in combat.
Yeah. And
he's they have a lot of attacks.
He's still got 3 Power Fist Terminators in there as well.
This blue character on the right-hand side, just off of the objective, what is it? I think it's a character for the NIDs.
I'm not sure where you're talking
I'll draw it up. I'll draw it on the screen.
I actually don't know what that is.
That is probably a Broodlord or Neurothrope. It's really hard to see from this angle.
Yeah, so we're going to Malanthrope.
Oh, that is the Malanthrope.
So bring out the list.
Wow, that's the Malanthrope?
If that's the Malanthrope, I mean, the Death Guard have a stratagem, right, where they can target any character that has Synapse.
Yeah.
And snipe it, right?
That would be suicidal if that was the Malanthrope. I can't believe.
Well,
if that is the Broodlord, that makes it a lot.
That to me, if you look at the top, I'm just circling it now. That model up there looks like the Broodlord. That dude on the stupid face.
That's the Malanthrope.
Chat.
That's the Malanthrope
Is it?
right there. Yeah, that's the Malanthrope.
Okay.
The big character above the orange L-shaped rule, that's the Malanthrope. 100%.
Yeah, okay. That makes
the Broodlord is the blue one.
Yeah, exactly right. That'd be the Gene Stealer called Broodlord. That's the Patriarch. The reason that Malanthrope is up there is because it's out of line of sight. You can't see it from where it is.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I was just like, if that's the Malanthrope, then that the Deathwatch player
he's just lost his game.
Wiping it out, right?
Yeah,
but if it's a Broodlord,
he doesn't have a game.
Yeah.
So yes, that Broodlord is there. I think Jeremy's just walked. Sorry, Josh. I friggin' hell J names. Josh has just walked over to have a look to see, double check what it is. He'll tell us in a sec when he gets back.
Mm-hmm.
And look, you see on his left-hand side, we've got 2 characters as well. So where are we at?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's over there. It looks like the old One Eye and something else next to him.
Maybe the Neurothrope
or a
Neurothrope.
It is a Broodlord.
I think the Neurothrope. Oh yeah, that's probably the Neurothrope there. Yeah.
So it's a Neurothrope and there's another Broodlord over there. He's also got a Patriarch and a Magus hiding. Sorry, a Primus and a Magus hiding out somewhere as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those are definitely gonna come in later in the game when they get to start slinging powers and twisting things.
There's a little blue character right there. I believe that's one of the Gene Stealer cult characters as well. It's just the 3rd one. We don't know where it is, and we don't know which one that is as well. So hard to see.
At the end of the day, I don't think it's critical because none of those guys are particularly close to anything of Jeremy's. You can see Jeremy's holding back at a solid 24 inches from that front line of gaunts.
Yeah, absolutely right.
So he's not really ready to engage those guys, but if it comes to it, he has the potential to if they move forward. So it's very risky to bring them into the open where they can get affected.
So we've got Old One Eye, we've got the Neurothrope, we've got Broodlord. Now, he's got another character I'm not actually sure. Can you bring up his list just again, just for a second? Trying to has he got 2 Broodlords?
Yeah, he does. He has
Okay.
a regular Broodlord and a Patriarch.
Okay, yeah, cool. All right,
Yeah.
so then the Broodlord that I've currently got over on the right is the fancy new model, which I'm assuming is the Patriarch.
Patriarch, yeah.
Because we've got a Broodlord up the back as well.
I'm actually very surprised that he runs the Broodlord in the Tyrannid detachment as opposed to the Patriarch, because he doesn't actually have any Gene Stealers to buff there.
That's absolutely right. I think I think he's working on the Smash Captain-esque feel of him. So he holds them back and he maybe counterpunch characters, which is exactly what he's doing with his Broodlord on the right-hand side. Yeah. He's making it a detriment to charge into that, to try and clear off that objective. I honestly don't know what the best choice for Jeremy to do is there. I think he needs to charge him and hope the Powerfests pull down the Broodlord.
Yeah, the Broodlord has an invuln, but it's not a particularly good one. So yeah, it's not. He's I think 5 wounds and 5 up invuln. So like, it's really not that hard to drag him down at the end of the day.
I think he charges him. He pulls him down, and he swings and charges as far towards the orange shape ruin as he can, and pushes back those Gene Stealers.
Yeah. I was honestly surprised he wasn't a little more aggressive with the Knight over there. Because like the Knight is great for just sort of dancing all over all the stuff in that side of the board, and old One Eye is so far away he's no real threat to him.
That's right. So it's interesting to see that how I told you about the horseshoe Erik always makes, and you see he's got each side of his horseshoes tied down with a punchy character. He's got old One Eye backed up with a Neurothroat, and he's got Patriarch on the other side. The problem is though, it's obvious that the right side is weaker with only a Patriarch versus old One Eye.
Yeah.
So it's an obvious choice to gun for that side.
Yeah, and the right side, from our perspective, would always be weaker because the left side has that big blue ruin in it to anchor the flank.
Exactly right, mate.
The other side does not have as well-placed of terrain for the Tyrannid, so the natural move for Jeremy, which you could see from his deployment, was to push the right side.
Exactly right.
And the center is basically just a killing field.
And that objective is exposed. If he ever wants to take it away from him, he needs to expose termagants or characters to get it back. Whereas the other one, he can literally just park 50, 60 termagants on it, and only Wyverns are ever going to do any damage to him.
Yeah. The left side is basically a wash for Jeremy.
I agree, mate. We have just been joined by Pablo, I believe. Say hello, mate, if you're in here.
How you doing, guys? I'm very excited to see my boy Jeremy.
Hey, dude.
He's just made that charge, guys. Looks like he got, I'd say he only got about 6 or 7 inches with it. And look, he is trying to space out towards that L-shaped ruin as well. He's moving as far as he can forward.
Yep.
So he's on the money. He sees
pretty much what I was expecting there. At this point, he's risking charges from, say, the Patriarch and the Broodlord on the following turn, but he should be able to avoid any heroic interventions from them.
I actually got a feeling he's only going to base the termagants with one guy, and he's going to try and wrap in.
Oh, really?
I've got a feeling he's just done it. Yeah.
I mean, he didn't roll particularly high, so he still has a lot of potential movement left. It's an interesting choice on the...
Sorry, he hasn't wrapped, by the way. He can still do it with his Consolidator, but he hasn't done it yet. I thought he was going to do it now.
Yeah. Also, wrapping puts him in contact with the Patriarch, which I think is a little too dangerous for the payoff.
Exactly right.
I would rather take the Termagant's shooting than the Patriarch's melee.
Yeah, it's a big call. The other thing that this exposes him to, though, is Smite, but I can't see... So the Neuro's on the wrong side of the board. The Broodlord is too far away. He might be able to advance to be able to get there. The Malanthrope isn't a Psycho, but the Patriarch is. So he could put... he's got the Magnus on the board as well. So we could lay 3 Smites into this turn, which could make things a bit spicy for that unit. So yeah, what do you guys think of that?
It's kind of a danger that Jeremy has to accept.
Exactly right. 100%. There's nothing to do about it.
He's taking damage from the smites and whatnot, but there's no real way for him to stop that. I think his idea at this point is that it's more critical to hold parity on points, so that when it comes to the late game where he has the natural advantage, then he will be doing better overall. Because as you say, Erik's a good player. He's probably not going to make this an easy game for him.
No, God no. Yeah, so we're trying to turn down your audio there, guys.
So I turned down my audio. I turned down the input on my audio mic avatar. Let me know if that's a little better for you guys.
Yeah,
I think what we're better off doing is actually leaving you guys pretty loud coming through Discord, and me just lowering the volume of Discord. That way we can hear you, because we've got a lot of noise here. So I bumped you up so as we can hear you, and of course now it's too low apparently. So if you guys want to bump yourself back up, I'll play around with the audio on our end.
And we'll get it done, guys. We're professionals.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
One dial.
Like, Geometric Tactics has never had an issue with sound, so like we'll help you out as best we can.
Not a single audio.
Not a single time, huh?
Never once.
I think it's stats time, guys.
Look, we'll dive on into some of them. So let's go with primary points first, because we can. And I've just done some checking to make sure that they're right, which is why I said we'll start with them. The average number of primary points across the board is 14.15, with Deathwatch smashing the highest average, albeit there is only one player with primary Deathwatch, and he's currently on the top table. So,
do we have the split for winners-losers on those primary points?
We can.
I think that is the more interesting number there, is where you see the split as opposed to just the average.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm onto that. Let's you chat.
Yeah, hello guys.
In the meantime,
that was the best.
In the meantime, while you're getting that.
All right, so we're into Erik's.
Hold on. In the meantime, while I'm getting that, what was that one? What were you after?
So Tyranids actually, and this is something that I've seen kind of true in analogies for tournaments that I've seen. Tyranids actually do score very well primary points. They're like a horde army in that respect. Large units that are fearless, so they don't give up a lot of kills. They usually get kills, and they usually hold objectives and have a good shot at holding more. So, and that reflects the points reflect that here at Cancon. Tyranids are number 5. I guess number 4, because I'm not going to include the lone Deathwatch player, who's averaging 23 points for primary, which is insane.
By the way, Adeptus Sororitas, that may actually be some mix of Chaos Demons. There are a couple of players that were labeled as sisters that weren't, so it's possible that's...
and 2 of the sisters lists that are faking it.
Yeah.
But Erik, I think Erik is probably averaging a lot higher points than that 15.26 that Tyranids average. But it's going to be very, very interesting. It is kind of cool that Erik kind of jumped up there early on primary with those 4 primary points just right off the bat. Already that means that Jeremy's underperforming with his primary points. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup just on the primary alone.
Well, Jeremy did catch it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were talking a little bit before Pablo hopped on here. But I think the expectation is Jeremy is underscoring a little bit early and then probably hoping to make it up later, as well as on the secondaries, because he has a much stronger secondary game than Erik is going to.
And that's smart too, right? You don't want to start trying to outkill or out objective these units, right? So you maybe want to just kill a unit, or maybe give up nothing and just hold one objective and blank out primaries for 2 or 3 turns before you actually start engaging.
I will just let you guys know that if you see what he's done with his Old One Eye, so Old One Eye has been bubbled out and he's still screening him out while he's getting progressively closer to the deployment zone. Next turn, Old One Eye could be all the way in Jeremy's lines, threatening that middle unit of veterans if he does it right. If he's able to shoot away the guardsmen in front this turn. We also see that exactly what I thought was going to happen. The Jin Steels are now being deployed within the L-shaped ruin, and they are probably going to be coming out. And if he loses that veteran squad, that is a bad return for 1 point and denying hold more. A whole veteran squad gone to a Patriarch and those Jin Steels. That's if they make the charge. We'll have to wait and see. Past that would leave... Sorry?
Oh, look at what's waiting on the back foot right there on that right side as well. At least sacrifice a unit of veterans to get shot just at wiping out a unit of Jin Steelers early.
Past that, though, he only has 1 unit of veterans left if he loses that one. Does that give him enough shots to clear the gaunts, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, he did lose a unit of Deathwatch early on in the game here, like at the beginning of turn 2. We think to Biovore shots of all things, but it is what it is. So.
I'm guessing there must be some terminate shots in addition to that. There's no, I find it hard to believe. It looks like he's rolled a 6 for their Colt ambush, and they're going to be starting literally
oh my God,
unfavorable charge. He's going to. I want to know where his G-Stealer caster is. He's not going to fall up with his terminals, but he could have fallen back and mass hypnosis to turn off the Overwatch. But I doubt he's going to bother now because he's going to stay in combat and put that Patriarch and those G-Stealers in. This might have been an overextension on the part of Jeremy, but I honestly know what else. I don't know what else he could have done and not had Erik run away with the points.
I don't think it's. Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say, I might have tried to bring the Knight up. The Knight is not immune, but much more resistant to the Gene Stealer's damage, and has more attacks, so is potentially more likely to clear out some of the other stuff. Bringing the Knight in to dance all over the bugs that are holding that objective might have been better, although not knowing the measurements and not being able to see the table straight in, it's a little hard to say.
Have a look at what...
And I think that, I'm going to say, like, there's nothing keeping that Knight from coming up as a counter charge in the next turn, right? He can push up, blow away a bunch of those Gaunts either that are in the middle, about to take that middle objective, or pop them the ones in the back, and then charge the Gene Stealers here that are for sure going to go into the veteran squad. And I wouldn't count the veteran squad out. I mean, it's highly likely that they're going to get smashed, but he's got 3 Terminators in there, and he's got 5 or 6 Storm Shields, so he can possibly soak all of that damage. It's not an impossibility, right? So,
it's going to matter a lot how those 3-ups go.
For sure.
100%.
Yeah, and as the chat points out, those Deathwatch veterans can pop right out of that fight and then just keep on doing their thing if they survive. So
for sure, they can fall back or they can teleport out. So.
Yep.
So,
he's also in danger of getting them wrapped as well.
The teleporter means they can't be wrapped.
Yeah. Teleport over out. So I will point out that people are saying that they think Jeremy's been baited into exposing that flank. Jeremy might be of the opinion that as soon as he takes, with Old One on the other side of the board, as soon as he takes out those Gene Stealers, there are no threats to his Knight close enough to do it. And he's using those veterans as bait for the Gene Stealers. That could be very well what he's going to do, guys. And he's like, I'm going to lose in this trade, but I might be ahead at the end of the game, and it might not matter. So, look.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would feel happy about that trade.
God no. God no, he's not happy about it. It might be a necessary evil, though.
Yes, and that's what a lot of high-level play is accepting certain sacrifices that other players might think are just poor because you understand the tactical and strategic levels of the game better. So it's very hard to assess, like, when 2 really good players go head-to-head with armies they're familiar with.
Another thing that's kind of interesting is we talked about the Knight not moving up, which is something that I think needs to happen now. I think that we can all agree on that the Knight needs to start moving up. But Erik's leaving a lot of bodies back. Pick out 1 or 2 veterans just with random shooting with luck. And you have, I don't know how, 30, 40 Gaunts just chilling in the back. I don't think you need that many at this point to hold that back objective. I think you probably just leave maybe 1 or 2 models or Ripper Swarm or anything, really, a Malanthrope, whatever you want to hold that objective. These Gaunts need to start moving up because he's actually in danger of losing some primary points to that middle objective.
I
think you can see where he's pushing up that left flank. They're very near that middle objective. I think he is holding them to keep aura range and also to be prepared for the late game where he knows that he's naturally going to get out.
That's a good counterpoint.
On turns like 3, 4, and 5, he can surge those Gaunts up, take the middle objective, and hopefully the Deathwatch firepower's been degraded enough by then that it's less of an issue.
And I see the tendrils. I understand that they're all tendriling from the Malanthrope.
Right.
Where the lines are there.
I think Bob was talking about the giant blob that's all surrounding that board. That could probably...
They're not doing anything back there. You could move them with the Malanthrope and still keep all the tendrils, still keep all of them in synapse range, all those buffs, and then those Gaunts can start shooting or threatening that middle objective versus the tendril on the left.
But Pablo, the reason that's problematic is because that puts them in double tap range of the Deathwatch.
Oh, no, I understand. There's only 1 Deathwatch veteran squad, right? So anymore. Conscripts aren't the best at shooting.
Well, let's remember, only one Deathwatch squad is still, what, 30 shots?
36 probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Or more, because he's got the Cyclone missile launcher, so they're doing 2d3.
So these are the guys. These are the G Stealer saves from on the veterans. We have to see how many you've dropped.
Okay, let's see how many die.
That looks like a lot of damage.
This is the second round about to come. That was just the first wave.
Oh my gosh.
A full unit of Gene Stealers like that puts out an incredible number of attacks.
They're within range of
I would certainly.
Patriarch as well, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So it looks like he failed 3 off that first set.
That's pretty good.
Sounds about
one
right.
thing you guys might not have noticed, the top left-hand corner of the screen, this is turn 3. Erik had to drop his rippers, but he literally has no use for them. So he's just dropped him in his back, his back left-hand corner. He does have 1 unit. Can you circle this one for me? Below the chest clock, he's got a unit of 3 there.
Yeah.
I think I don't really know what his plan is there. He just might be
Recon.
Like,
Oh, but he's already going to have recon.
Yeah. He's absolutely right.
They're recon, but I think those barriers in front of them will basically block line of sight to them, so they're a bit more insurance on recon, and they're a unit that can move in and take objectives if needed. The Rippers are basically just a liability at this point.
Exactly right. They are easy kill points for a Within to pick up.
Yep.
I might even hide them behind that chest clock so my opponent doesn't notice them.
They're going to notice them when they reach over for the chest clock, though.
It's true. You're right.
Yeah, it's...
We've had a request for the secondaries again.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Yep. For how they're going with the secondaries?
Yeah, well, no, who's picked what?
Recon.
Erik has Recon, which has scored 1 point. Ground Controller's got 0. Old Schoolers got 0. And Jeremy selected Headhunter, Reaper, and Ground Control. None of them have actually really got anything with the secondaries so far. Albeit we are... is it Erik's turn at the moment? Or no, it's top of turn 2 with Jeremy.
Yeah.
Jeremy has the advantage in the secondaries. I think Old School might have been a big mistake.
Yeah, that's a very strange choice for an army that has so little first turn firepower.
I'd like to point out that the veterans have just been wiped. They're all
yeah, looks like a
and he's bubbling the Patriarch with the G Stealers.
Yeah,
so
sounds
this
about right.
Do ground control. I feel if Jeremy keeps playing conservatively like this, I think that whoever has the most objectives at the end of the game might win, which is a very old school way to win a game.
Very, very old school.
You know, that's a 6th edition thing.
I think a lot of it is going to rest on turn 5 and 6 and how much attrition that Jeremy has managed to put on him or has suffered. Because like losing the whole squad of Deathwatch there obviously hurts. But it's really like that unit of Gene Stealers is now dead because unlike Tyrannid Gene Stealers, they can't just use their stratagem to run back into the building and protect themselves. That's one of the reasons I am a little leery of the Pure Strains, because they don't have all the stratagem options that Tyrannid ones do. So he's traded the Gene Tyrannids for the Deathwatch here, which is okay, but it does leave him really light on firepower.
Yeah, losing 2 vet squads is not ideal.
Oh, guys, he's just used Overrun on his Termagants, and he's double bubbled out and roadblocked that Knight now from combat.
Yep, this is why the Knight needed to move out earlier.
Yeah. That's actually a really good play.
She's got some interesting sounds going on next to us. There's a big. Hold on, let's just do this for a second.
This is the Infinity guys, by the way.
So there's some video that they're playing. Probably doesn't come through that loudly in the stream, but it's just a bit of a. It's quite loud here.
Erik is updating his scores right now. Looks like he's got up to 6, possibly 7, and we got the 7th point. He's got an 8th point there. He has got an 8th point there. That's what I thought. I thought he was going to get 4 this time.
All right, so stats.
I'm going to go to the toilet.
All right, I'll mute you. You're going to be muted.
Play nice. Adam said play nice.
Adam called you jerks. No.
That's for the rest of us.
All right.
You deserve it.
So we have the secondaries. So what I think would be best would be let's start by asking specific questions. So I think old school was one of the ones that we've been throwing around a bit. So hold on, I've got Erik just walking up to the table. It took the Patriarch to finish off those vets. The actual Gene Stealers didn't get it done by themselves.
That's not too surprising.
But he only got one through. Like one attack from the Patriarch actually eventually did any damage.
Wow.
Like it was just killed them all.
That is
where he's placing the the conscripts in front of the knight. It doesn't look like he's planning on engaging with the knight, unless
no.
I guess he could do a double charge.
The knight doesn't want to go into the Gene Stealers. He's not if they're anywhere near full strength, anyways.
Mm.
Yep. So
if he can shoot the Gene Stealers, he might be able to. But if you shoot him, you'll probably just won't be able to charge them anymore.
Well, he doesn't have the guys to actually really kill a lot of them. Like the Death Watch will take down a fair number, but I don't think they wipe the whole squad. Yeah, there's the knight coming forward.
Okay.
What's this blue model next to the objective on the right?
That is
that's
a Patriarch.
that's the Patriarch.
The Patriarch? Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
The Patriarch is certainly not good for a knight, but he's really not that much of a threat. The knight will kill him with dancing feet, and he is going to do some damage, but probably not wipe the knight by himself.
Yeah, it looks like Jeremy's angling to maybe wipe out this Tyranid unit on the right and then charge the Gene Stealers or shoot them, or maybe kill that Patriarch. Because if he can pull all of that off, that right objective is his, and with maybe a move order on the conscripts, he can take the middle objective and get hold more.
Yep.
This turn, which I think he desperately needs. It's a tall order though. You're asking the remaining basically the Astromel Terran part of his army to kill 30 Tyranids or 30 Termagants or whatever that is, and then also charge the Patriarch, kill the Patriarch, and then kill enough Gene Stealers so that objective isn't his.
Yeah, and this is where you see the downside of the Loyal 32. Yeah,
Yep.
They give you command points, but they don't do much other than that. So you're sinking about 180 points into models that honestly are not lifting a lot of weight.
No.
It's why you've seen players like Jeff Robinson move away from taking the Loyal 32 in a number of their armies, because they do give you board control, but they don't actually do much.
Now, to be fair, Jeremy is running more of like a loyal 56, right? Because he has a block of 30 conscripts, Valhallan conscripts, so they're much more suited to ignore morale. And he does have that wyvern in the back. It isn't listed on his list. Is he running the Emperor's Wrath detachment from Vigilus?
Could.
It's a little hard to know. I believe he can. So Cancon did something a little strange and went kind of against the rules of 40k.
Okay.
So
you
they said you could pick it
turn to turn.
round around, which is not really.
Yeah,
well,
that's explicitly not how it works. But I mean,
but everyone knew it.
Whatever
Everyone
the
knew
TO
it.
rules, yeah.
So it is what it is.
If it's not a surprise, it is what it is, right? So.
Right. Yeah, I think the chat has the right call
now.
there, where he's probably going to try and clean out the Gene Stealers with shooting, and then dance all over the Gaunts with the various other units. He has no real reason to shoot the Gaunts much, because the Death Watch and the Knight combined should have more than enough tax to clear them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree with
If
that.
he puts all that shooting into the Gene Stealers, they're dead. And then, he tap dances
Maybe.
over the Gaunts.
I mean, I guess they don't have catalysts, so they're going to be a lot easier.
They don't have the catalyst. He's got the 40-some-odd shots from that Death Watch unit that are going to be re-rolling ones to wound, re-rolling
They are
everything.
not. The Gene Stealer... Pure
Oh,
String
they're
Gene
not a
Stealers
troop?
are not a troop.
Oh,
No, they're released.
So that
they're dead.
That does change the numbers a bit there. He
Yeah,
has some
that's-
stratagems to dance around that, but it's certainly it's within the realm of possibility that those Gene Stealers survive.
Yeah,
although
he
I
can
will
spend one command point to switch it to elites just for the one unit. There's a few things he can do. So
Yeah, is that used at the beginning of a phase?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I could just turn
Okay,
around
I
and grab
think
my Death Watch book, but
I think it is because I would assume it doesn't let you, do a bunch of shooting and then swap your mission tactic.
So as far as the stats are concerned, we'll just jump back to those just for a second. So we've got those averages. They're much more like what we'd expect, similar to what we were seeing the other day. So the grand average of all the secondaries that we have, remembering that there are a number of secondaries that we just don't know, was 2.7, so much higher than the report was suggesting before. The behind, so let's some of the big ones. Titan Slayer, we're averaging 3.19, which is our largest amount, and yeah, that was with a total of 73 times. So the Titan Slayer has been used 73 times. So that's a reasonable number to start getting reasonable averages. Unlike the first round where it was a bit like, well, this wasn't taken that many times, so it's a little hard to make those calls.
And I think we mentioned it yesterday. Like Titan Slayer is one of the easier ones to get, especially when you're dealing with knights, right?
Yep. So what would you say would be a hard one to get?
Yeah.
I mean, ground control, obviously.
So ground control had an average of 2.4, which was the
way higher than I would expect.
Lowest.
That's actually better than I thought.
It's the lowest average of any secondary.
Huh.
Still the lowest.
So it is the lowest, but the average is still probably higher than I think anyone may have expected.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's very strange. I don't think I've ever seen someone score more than 2 points off ground control, and it's usually 1 or 0.
So basically, if we look at the ground control, yeah, so they were 0s and 4s pretty much.
No. And
yeah, I can see 4s if you're like winning more, right? If you
just blow out.
Yeah, when you're wiping your opponent out, then you obviously are scoring 4 at the end, right? So.
Yeah.
Another thing about ground control is only one player can score points for ground control for each objective. So I imagine that might skew the data a little bit. If you have one player scoring 4 points on ground control and another player scoring 0 points on ground control, like what I imagine will happen in this game, you have an average of 2 points scored for ground control, which lowers its overall points scored.
My perspective on ground control is it is only a good choice
when you are in a dominant matchup. When you're a dominant matchup, ground control is an amazing choice. Otherwise, it's like maybe you get 2 points.
Yeah.
So Tyranids have used ground control 4 times over the weekend, and all of them were 4 points.
Holy crap.
I would almost put money on all of those being Erik.
For sure. It's kind of that's what
his list is.
His list is
essentially
built.
built.
So
scored 4 points on the 3 objective one. That's how good he is.
Whereas, Space Wolves did it twice and they got a 4 and a 0.
We just had a question from Master Strider. Is anyone taking Butcher's bill?
Butcher's bill had an average of 2.9, and that has been used 92 times.
Wow.
So that's a reasonable number.
That's very good.
That one, it's been heavily used by Knights.
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
A question for you guys. Have you seen the clarifications that were done preceding LVO for how Butcher's Bill and Reaper interact with some of the others?
I have. Oh, bang.
Bang. Gene
So
Stealers got
on
picked
the
up.
stream, I don't see any Gene Stealers left.
They all just got picked up, guys.
That's
There's
all she
the
wrote.
last one.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that's brutal.
That is what happens to
killed
Gene
them?
Stealers in the open. I imagine Death Watch.
I would bet the Death Watch because that's almost
the
40.
veteran squad hiding in the building there.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
They got smoked. So smoked.
Potentially by these guys down here.
That is what happens when you get whole Gene Stealer units available, and that's why I prefer the Tyranid version, even though their charge is a little bit less reliable, because they can use the stratagems to dance back behind cover and not just get evaporated like that. Because if that Gene Stealer unit had then popped back into the building and been a threat, this is a totally different game.
I totally
It's a
agree.
pretty disgusting game after that.
I'm not quite sure what that losing the Gene Stealers changes the outcome of this game, changes the status quo, but that is a big hit to Erik. It's just whether he thinks that was worth it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it necessarily changes the game. That was kind of what we were expecting. What I would definitely say is this means that Jeremy is still in the game, because if he doesn't wipe those Gene Stealers, he would be out.
Yeah.
So a nice good move with those veterans moving that way. It worked into his overall strategy of getting this shit away from Old One Eye on the other side of the board. So now Old One Eye can go and eat some conscripts, and who gives a crap?
Yeah, you'll notice Old One Eye and Mr. Knight are pretty much... they've turned the game into Hammer and Anvil. They started off Dawn of War. Actually, they kind of started off a bit Vanguard Strike with opposite corners. Then they've turned it into Hammer and Anvil. All right, so yeah, it's quite interesting to see some of these averages being thrown around. Some of the biggest numbers that we're seeing, the highest average for secondaries, as I said before, was Titan Slayer. We jumped down to the next highest. It was the Reaper, sitting at 3.09, and then Kingslayer sitting at 3.04. So that's pretty. They're all the ones that are 3+. Then there's a whole bunch that are mid to high 2s.
Yeah, Reaper again, like Titan Slayer, is it's always pretty obvious whether you should take it or not. And Kingslayer, I actually found, has replaced Titan Slayer in a lot of cases because everyone is making all their knights characters, so it's a pretty easy 4 points.
Play 3 knight lists or lists with multiple knights. You take Kingslayer and Titan Slayer. That's basically maximum secondary points if you can kill them.
Yeah. Do they now have asterisks against those? I'm trying to remember just how many.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you bring a 3 knight gallant list, for example, and you make all 3 knights gallant or characters, one will give up Kingslayer at 16 wounds, one will give up Titan Slayer at 3 points, and then the last one will either give up the last point of Titan Slayer or a headhunter point, depending on what you want to use it for.
Yeah.
So we've just seen we've seen quite a good move by Jeremy with his charge and his knight. He's moved literally as close as he can get to the Patriarch, so that if he manages to stomp out all the termagants in front of him, he has decent odds of being able to pile into him. I don't know if that's the best choice because he gets attacked, but he's going to be able to pile in onto that objective and at least contest it at the end of this round.
Yeah. Also, Erraticus in the chat has noted that a lot of people were playing those asterisk ones wrong, and in the defense of you guys down under, I will say almost everyone was playing those wrong. I think it was basically like Reese and 3 other people who were playing them right.
I've played them
the people who made them, yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, it was a little unclear, and and whenever everything's unclear, we always go for what's best.
Well, but I think that the wording was it absolutely did work the way everyone else was playing it. Reese had just worded it in a way that did not do the thing he thought it did.
Exactly right.
And, in his defense, that happens a lot, but people were playing it correct by the wording, but wrong by the intention.
Yep. And since then, the wording has been changed a little. I remember us having a big conversation about how we would change the wording on that to make it a little clearer. Now I think it just simply says a unit doesn't give up points for asterisk objectives if it's already given up points for one, something like that. I think I don't know the actual wording because I haven't seen it yet, but he basically clarified that no unit, you can't get an asterisk if you've gotten anything else, including a non-asterisk. Which was kind of like the big change. That does make Mark for Death and Reaper a lot less attractive, which I think will make some players, including our good friend RVD, who I saw in the chat earlier, a lot happier.
Yeah.
Radicus, what do you mean by SO? I don't actually know which one that's referring to.
So he's just got his wounds through. He's just stomping with his...
It meant to be OS, meant to be old school.
I think old school is still fine in the right matchup.
Well, old school has an average of 2.37, and
Low.
yeah,
it is, but like we discussed yesterday, a lot of it is because people are taking it when they shouldn't be.
yeah.
There are a lot of times when people are taking old school when it is not the correct option, or when there are no good options. I took old school last weekend at a tournament against a Yanari mirror match, just because like there's no good options against Yanari. They're so hard to pick against. This has only been made worse by the clarification on the non-exclusives there.
All right, so an interesting little tidbit for you. So the average for old school for people who lost their game was 1.6, whereas people who won their game, it was 3.4.
So I'm guessing that's first blood?
Well, probably.
What's the average for people who won their game for all the other secondaries?
That's a very good
Pablo's
question.
so needy.
Yeah.
Well, because if it's scoring the lowest out of people who've won the game, then it's still proving our point. Which I would imagine it's not the highest. I'd imagine the average for a lot of secondaries for winners is like 3.8 or 4.
All right. Well, there you go. Let's go with the total average for secondaries, regardless of what they were, but for those who won was 3.44.
Wow, there you go.
Okay.
So
old school is outscoring there, which is probably what I would expect.
Yeah, if you outscore the average.
It's a very win-more kind of options. Like if you win, it's great. If you lose, it's terrible.
So that was going to be my question. What is a pass for a secondary? What makes it, at what number, what figure does a secondary get a pass as a good choice, regardless of first or
3
second?
points.
Yeah.
Honestly, if the secondary is not giving me 4 points,
Well, now we have an
I
average.
feel like it's
We
bad.
have an average. So anything that sits above the average could be deemed to get a pass or be good.
I'd say 2.5 would be all right. I think you want to be above average to but once again, I mean, this is where I think you need to have. We've got this data. You have to ask specific questions. So things like, all right, I'm playing knights, and I'm playing with knights against Tau. All right. What secondary should I pick in that specific faction matchup versus what secondaries do I pick as a knight player? Like it's
Right.
it's
not
a
to toot my own horn here. We did like half an episode on chapter tactics, not chapter tactics, in the finest hour, just talking about. I'm on too many podcasts. All we did was talk secondaries in the whole second half of the episode, and we talked about like how many points do you accept, what do you go for, what do you realistically achieve. There's a ton of factors going into this, and this may be why. Oh, go ahead, Pablo.
I was just saying, you guys also universally shit on ground control.
I would
As
be
a
honest.
podcast.
I don't think it's good. I don't like it. I almost never take it. I don't think it's great, and I think the numbers bear that out. Ground control scores very poorly in most things. That said, I don't hate that it's there. I wish one of the things I'm hoping for with the new ITC season and the change to the missions is that we will see a couple more positional-based objective that we can use, because right now almost all of them are about killing things, and I'd like to see it move away from that a little bit.
I'm putting my hand up, guys, to speak. I
And
don't like...
for Yalthroga has asked about the total secondaries.
1.3 according to
Go at him.
Hey guys,
Down Under Pairings.
my perspective on ground control is...
Those numbers were incorrect. So
My perspective
They
on
were
ground control
incorrect.
is it's a secondary that you only score when you've already won. Which means you're much better off taking secondaries that will get you in front throughout the game, rather than banking on things that you will score if you're winning or not at the end. Any thoughts?
Can you guys hear Adam coming through Discord?
sometimes.
Yeah.
He's breaking up for me right now.
He's a little spotty, but he's audible.
Oh, it's because we don't like you.
Harsh.
All right, so some of the other stats. So one of the questions was average for winners was 3.44. Yeah, the other thing worth throwing out, we made comments that yesterday, with only 2 rounds of data, the win ratio for overall was pretty much break even on doesn't matter who went first or second. So we're and after 4 rounds of data, we're actually still sitting at that same sort of stat. So 48% of people who went first won, and 51% lost. Now, some of the games we don't actually have they didn't tick the box to tell us. Those have not been included in those numbers. So we have, so we have more games than that. But as far as knowing, so there's a 49%. Sorry. So for example, there's 28 games with Chaos Demons in them, and they got a 71% ratio. But we only know I think 11. I want to say 11. No, only know 19 of those of who went first or second. So it's a little hard to.
Sorry, I had something of an interesting question. It's something I've been curious about. Do you have good records on how often people are scoring the bonus point in missions?
I have that right here.
Okay, my intuition is that it is fairly low, that you're seeing maybe 1 or 2 points most games, and often even less. But I don't have any data to back that up, so I'm curious where the numbers come out.
And I was kind of curious on a mission perspective, mission to mission, anything else.
Yeah, I don't imagine they have enough info on that, though.
I'm curious about that as well.
But if we go quickly back to this, who went first versus who went second percentages, I think there's some really good data in there now with more games played that kind of reflects what we were talking about yesterday, right? Because we talked about Tau, and there was an expectation that Tau would generally do better if they went first. And it really does pan out. So you see they've got...
they got 91%.
11 games.
They have
11 games played when they went first with a 91% win rate. When they go second, they have a 58% win rate. So, and that's 11 and 12 games. That's enough to be relatively statistically significant, I would say.
Yes. Although it is probably skewed at least a little bit by the fact that Tau had like 2 in the top 8 or 16 at one point.
For sure. But even then, I think it's like that's a large difference. It's a 40%, almost a 33% differential win rate. That's pretty excessive.
That's
got to be indicative of something, even if it is maybe not.
Chaos Demons is another good example. So Chaos Demons have an 82% win rate when they go second, but only a 50% win rate when they go first. So,
and that's with a decent amount of games recorded.
That is. I mean, it's still only 4 rounds.
Tend to do better when they go second, 67 versus a 43.
Death Guard have been 71% when they go second and 33% when they go first. So,
which I really did expect because they are like a resiliency army, right? Like their whole goal is to soak the damage.
Same with Inari
going second, 86 to 29% win rate if they went first. What are you guys doing over there with your Inari players?
We have systematically stomped them all out of the meta. and we're all very happy about it.
I'm looking at this 29%, and I just imagine that if they get first, you're allowed to punch them in the dick to start the game. That must be what you guys are doing. Which, by the way, I did send an email to GW about. They haven't come back to me on if it's an allowable.
On that should be in an FAQ.
Yeah.
So back to the game here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
So Erik just made off a bunch of charges into these conscripts. He's looking to wrap if he can. I'm not sure what he's going to do exactly, but could you guys are close to the table. Is that knight more than 3 inches away from those?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Those gonzo down the right.
It's close to probably 4.5 to 5. It's surprisingly looks short, but it's not. It's probably because the grey of the base. Sorry, the brown of the base matches the brown of the trees he's on. Now, Old One Eye has connected. He's also connected with 2 of his little tendrils going back into that L-shaped ruin on the left-hand side. Past that, he's just kind of zoning off the knight, so I can't get too deep into his lines, and I can't shoot any characters. Now, he's probably going to try and isolate it and leave it over there where it's out of relevance, it's only going to be possibly affecting one objective. It can't be sitting on one, shooting something off another, and playing a huge role in the game. It still might do that, but from where it's sitting, I don't think it is. Now, Old One Eye's going to go in. He's going to absolutely cock punch those conscripts down. Can I say cock?
You've said it twice now.
Apparently I'm not allowed to say cock.
He's going to have to do a lot of damage, though, because you see that the conscripts are horseshoed, like, all the way around to the corner, right? So as you can see, like, Jeremy's, depending on how many wounds he does, he might not even be able to wrap them.
Yep.
I think he's activated his Termagants at the bottom first. I thought he would have activated Old One Eye first, because now he has to only kill like 3 or 4 guys, and Old One Eye won't get to swing.
Yeah, I am kind of surprised on the way he's pulling models there, although
he
again,
did no wounds then.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how many. He may have activated those Gaunts first, but like not many of them actually attacked, and he didn't do a single wound.
And so he's just wrapped. So for this guy, he's just wrapped him, but he's still got Old One Eye to attack. How does Old One Eye not kill like 6 conscripts?
It doesn't matter really. So we've wrapped this guy here, or maybe he doesn't.
Yeah,
maybe
he just kills all the guys that he's...
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he's killed all the guys he's got.
Unless Old One Eye has already attacked.
Well, unless Old One Eye isn't
he
in
did
base.
scoop like 6 or 7 from the far right here, right? So
yeah, I think that was from the far left squad of Termagants, though. I believe he has activated both squads of Termagants, but not Old One Eye.
Yeah.
That is my impression so far.
Interesting. So seriously, there's only 2 threats left on the board.
Yeah.
For Erik, there's only that 1 unit of vets and the Knight. The Wyvern will still do some damage, but it's not going to. I mean, over the course of the game, maybe it kills 1 unit of Termagants through -1 to hit, and them having 2 saves, so 6 up, 6 up.
Yep.
Maybe it kills 1 unit over the course of the game. It's not going to be.
The scores are currently relatively close.
Yeah.
We've got similar on primaries. Erik's managed to score the bonus twice now, and got 2 points on recon, whereas Jeremy is yet to score a secondary. Now, one of the things worth pointing out, it's very common for the players that we've seen on top tables to absolutely ignore Reaper as far as keeping track of it until after the game. So we've seen it go, all right, no Reaper, no Reaper, no Reaper, bang, 4 points. So I would just say that there's probably 4 Reaper, or we'll say 3 before the end of this game, minimum. So that brings us back up to pretty much a 10-all kind of draw right now.
We're about to see the scores go in for the top of turn 4. Top turn 4.
Yeah. The problem is for Jeremy is he has lost a lot of his army, whereas Erik is still sitting on a lot of models.
That's right. And I think
that's where that trade of the squad of veterans for the squad of Gene Steelers was maybe not a great thing to do overall, although obviously there's a lot more factors to it than that.
Well, it was just a positioning thing. I mean, just to where that L-shaped ruin is positioned made that a really unattractive play. But honestly, I don't know what else other plays he could have done to change the status quo of this game and to start actually try and get into a winning position. Because right now, it doesn't look like there's anything he can do from this to... Oh, well, honestly, this is either going to be a win for Erik or a tie. That's what I'm seeing now.
I think what he could have done instead of the veterans to kind of try and go fight for that objective. Because I understand what Jeremy's trying to do. He's trying to keep bodies off that right objective because he needs objectives to win the game.
Right.
I think I would have probably put my knight up there and then slowly inched up my veterans behind the conscripts, and then maybe kept those veterans in shooting range of these gaunts to the left. Because this knight really sitting in the back, the knight's really not doing anything. You're having its damage output, because of the stomps. I feel like that might have been the better call.
I definitely would have played more aggressively on that right objective and tried to clear it out.
I think he had to. I honestly think he had to play aggressive from turn 2 onwards. Maybe turn 1 sitting back's not a bad idea, just to see where Erik decides to put his characters, so you know where you can put the knight. But yeah, from turn 2 onwards, I would have been full ball.
One thing I wasn't entirely clear on, since I couldn't see the objective and whatnot exactly enough. If it was possible to hold that objective while not being locked in combat, that would actually have been a huge benefit for Jeremy, because it would have given Erik the choice between either accepting the Auspex scan when he arrives or not charging with the Gene Stealers.
That's correct. One thing I thought he could have done with his conscripts is that middle objective in the board has been quite pivotal to, for 2 turns for Erik to get cold war, as the one on the right has been contested.
Yeah.
If he was to put his conscripts, so Erik put about a little tendril of 5 termagants up there, turn 2, and he's held that objective for 2 turns now. If he had moved up his conscripts and wrapped those termagants, so they're not going to kill each other, it's an utter pillow fight. He could be sitting safely on that objective and bubble wrapped. Now that might not have changed it too much, but it's an aggressive play to take broad space off an army that denies you so much ability to contest objectives. And I think it could have been something you could have done early on.
That definitely would have been a thought for me as well, just because Erik doesn't have the shooting to punish him for moving into the midfield there.
Yeah. And as soon as he's wrapped, the termagants, they're useless. They're absolutely useless. So, yeah. I'm interested to know how much time they've got left on their clocks. We might get actually that stuff. We're having too much fun here. I might just have a look at how much time is left in the round. We have 1 hour and 9 minutes left in this round, and these guys are at the bottom of turn 4. So it's quite likely this is going to get an early conclusion. Stats-wise, you guys got access to the stats. What are you guys saying that's jumping out to you that you find exciting and interesting?
I don't think, maybe I missed it just because the audio was a little intermittent here. Did we ever get a number on those bonus points?
I'm looking at them right. Yeah, I'm just bringing them up now. So
okay.
Yeah, we'll just bring that up.
So anything else you guys are saying we should discuss, and then we'll just jump into that.
Go ahead, Pablo.
So your overall, I love where your average turns are. Your lowest average turns is a 5.21, which is Dark Angels, which is actually kind of surprising. I wonder why Dark Angels players are playing slower than all the other players. Because they're sandwiched in between Tyranids and Death Guard. Death Guard I can understand, as obviously Tyranids when you look at Erik's list. But
Erik's been finishing his games.
Erik has his last game he didn't finish. I'm sorry, Erik. I didn't mean to imply that you're a slow player. How many players are not finishing their games that you guys are seeing just kind of organically?
So all right. So one of the things that's once again you can only go with what you got. We know that there are games where someone was tabled, and so they filled out the max points you can get per following turn, but then they put down they get 6 turns, and so which is fine by me because that the game completed. But we also know a number of games where they talked out the remaining turns rather than clocking it. Not going to name names, not really my place to do so, but that was frowned upon from the TOs. Basically, if you get 4 turns in and you run out of time, you don't get those extra points that you could have talked through for rounds 5 and 6, which I'm not sure how common that is in the US and up in Canada, whether or not is that a common thing you find? That players, when they run out of time, will just talk through and go, yeah, I would have got this, you would have got that. All right, we'll call it a 27, when in actual fact, they only scored 14.
So it really depends, right? Because on a league level or an RTT level, I'm okay with that. I do that myself as well, especially if I'm not in the running for any prize support. However, at a big event like the Las Vegas Open, Cancon, Nova, Adepticon, where there's real prize support, real glory, real stakes on the line, it is very much collusion, and in some cases, as Reese pointed out to me a long time ago, can actually be illegal depending on how much money is on the line. For example, with the ITC champion, if you're in the top 8 at the LVO, and that could potentially get you that in money for winning the ITC champion.
Yep.
That could be collusion. That could be very bad.
Yeah, it's
in general, it is technically cheating. It is technically collusion with your opponent, because you're not actually playing out the game. You're just kind of and potentially influencing a game when it should just be played outright. like if you went to Vegas and you're like, hey dealer, on roulette, you've rolled like 4 blacks in a row, so I'm just gonna put it on red and just say like, yeah, you're gonna give it to me because the chances of it going to 5 blacks in a row are like ridiculous, right? So just give me the red because obviously it's gonna go on red.
Okay, Pablo, that's a misrepresentation, absolutely.
A little bit.
Because first of all, that is gambler's fallacy right there. The previous rolls do not influence future rolls, so that is straight out a false statement. And there is a massive difference between I have 12 units left on the board, I will be able to hold 1 objective each turn, and it should be on red this turn because I want it to.
Yeah, but the metaphor was very poor, but what Pablo said is I still think is very true, right? It is cheating. The only time I would ever consider playing out a game in your mind or whatnot with your opponent would be if there's time left. Like if you clock out, you clocked out. But if you're playing a game and it's round 4 and you've got like 45 minutes left, but you only have that like 1 model that's hiding in a back corner, I see no reason why you don't just talk to your opponent and be like, listen, maybe that 1 unit can get to me in 2 turns and you kill him, so I'll score this objective twice and that's it. And let's just call it here rather than play out the next 45 minutes, right? That's very different.
But how is that any different? What is the actual difference there?
You still have time.
Sean,
the time is over in the other
it's not different.
situation.
Okay, but
I understand where you're coming from, Sean. Technically, it's not different.
Okay, but so what? What if you have 5 minutes left and you talk through your final turn? Is that also cheating?
You could have 2 hours left, 5 minutes left. Technically, they're both cheating. But what Peter's talking about here is a moral difference or an ethical difference, where.
Okay, but you guys are imposing an assumed ethical intent on these that I don't think is almost ever there. I think most players talk out the final turns because they are relatively confident that's how it will go and that is what would happen, not because they want to score more points and are there to cheat the system.
For sure, but
this sounds like a chapter tactics episode, guys. What's up?
But what I'm describing here, you set out a rule that a game needs to go X amount of time, right? So if your judge calls out dice down, like I don't think you have any right to be like, okay, let's call this out.
Yeah, okay, but I would argue that is different from talking out with time remaining. If you are out of time, that's one thing, but if you are simply...
That's my argument.
But you're not... That distinction wasn't made earlier, and I think that is very
apologize then. Yeah, so no, like what I'm saying is if there's time left, like I'm in my example, there's an hour and a half, let's say, and I only have the 1 model in the back corner, rather than, play an extra 25 minutes, because you're still going to finish in time. There's no way you're taking an hour and a half to move that 1 model, right, unless you're being a complete dick. Right. In that case, like, there's no issue, right? It's judge calls dice down, which I think is what Josh is kind of leaning towards here. And then the 2 players go, okay, well, we still have 3 turns left. This is what I would have done just to get those extra points. And that is, we've set rules down about that, right? So.
Sure. But I would certainly make that distinct from, we're down to 5 minutes left. We are not going to finish another turn, but I think it's fair to say we both kill 1, hold 1.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, no, and that I'm sorry if I didn't make that distinction at the beginning, but that's what I'm kind of referring to, right? Is like a dice down versus we have time left. I really want to get a beer, right?
Yeah.
Rather than this next little bit.
And also, I feel like that is, if you're going to call it cheating, maybe the most benign form of cheating possible. Because you're cheating with the consent of the opponent, which, like, in a lot of versions of the ITC, that is not even...
But I guess that comes down to whether or not you want to classify collusion as cheating, all right? So let me throw this at you then.
Okay,
all right, how much different is that than us just at the very start of the game going, you know what, I'm going to beat you. Let's not play the game. I get the max win, and you get the highest loss you can get, which is what, 22 points is the lowest. So
you can get a high loss. I think it was as high as 35 if you both did like ridiculous things.
Yeah, but the stupid
if you both get bonus and you both trade off on hold more versus kill more.
So my point is that like you've got to draw the line somewhere. I don't know where that line should be drawn. I don't have the answer to that question. It's just, yeah. I think it goes the main reason I brought it up was actually not to really go too much into the rights and wrongs of everything. More focused on the stats that we have are not accurate.
Sure.
It's too bad, man. That can of worms is opened, and it cannot be closed again.
It's true.
I think it's fair to say everyone wants to play out full games, and we should encourage actual play of full games. But the reality is that a lot of people just won't finish their games.
Well, actually,
I would argue that might
actually
not
have
be
seen
100% the case. Sorry, Adam.
I have legitimately seen lists that are tailored to not get to 6 turns. They're literally built to be in a winning commanding position on turns 3 and 4. And that's because these are players accepting that at the state of the game, that is improbable to expect that in a 5-game event you'll get 6 turns every game. So why should I bother planning for it? Why should I bother expecting that? If I build for 4 turns, I have an advantage.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely the wrong mentality to go into with a game, but unfortunately it is done, and unfortunately it wins because of the realities.
Yep. So going back to some of those stats that are less controversial, which was the bonuses, which I think everyone was quite interested in.
Yeah.
I've got the data. So the average bonus scored, or number of bonuses scored, is this per? Look, this is per player per game. So basically per player is 0.075. So bonuses are basically not really getting scored. And if you're interested, the difference between missions 1, 2, 3, and 4, mission 3 got as low as 0.45. So not like half a point. Whereas mission 4 got the highest at 0.94. So almost a full point.
Even on the high end, that's still barely 1 point per game. Yeah.
There's a ton of zeros, crazy.
Yeah, and that has been my experience as well. Is in most games, neither player scores the bonus point, but in a few games, you will have one player racking up 2 or 3 of them at the top end.
And the only times you ever see more than 2 or 3 is in an absolute crushing victory. Like when you have to get to the 40s and the 42s, you have to be scoring the bonus point pretty much from turn 2 onwards to crack the 40.
Yeah.
So it's very hard. Look, I think I've only ever scored 2 42s in my life of ITC. I've only scored 2.
I have literally never gotten a 42. I have only seen a player get one once.
I scored a 42 on Matt Morrisoli. Here last year. It was so good.
So Matt Morrisoli is currently ranked number 1 on ITC for Australia, even though it doesn't say it.
A 42.
There's some results sitting with Frankie that the TO team are really, really hoping will be in before tomorrow.
The normal blokes, which I'm assuming is underneath, or Luke, his rippers, he had nowhere good to put them. He had no objectives to drop them on. He has 2 units of objectives in his top left hand.
There's 2 units of rippers up the top left and one down the bottom left.
He literally is like, I do not need these dudes. Might as well chuck them for recon insurance.
Yeah,
that's all he did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, stats wise, are we able to tell which mission gave out the most bonuses?
I just did.
Oh, sorry. Which one was
Mission 4.
Yeah, that was mission 4.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, which is not surprising.
And as I said, mission 3 was the lowest. Look, I don't know what a good average should be for the bonuses.
I think 2. 6 turns, 2 bonuses. I think that's
scoring 2. That's a lot, honestly.
Yeah. So I actually talked to Reese about this because I helped him play test some of the missions in the secondaries a little bit, not a lot, not as much as the guys down the area. His expectations seemed to be that the bonus point was typically not going to get scored.
Yep.
Not necessarily every game, but on a typical turn, you do not see the bonus point. They are intentionally.
I think that's a good thing. I think basically, 40s, should be very difficult to get. And winning a game well, I would expect would sit, high 30s, like would be your average, and
Are we able to find out?
what would I'd call a big win.
Do we know what the average winning score is?
Average winning score.
Yeah. And the average losing score, is that a possibility?
I'm sure we could pull that up.
So let's go back to the game for just a second. So
Yeah.
it looks like the Patriarch and
Pete the stats man pulls us back to the game.
Yeah, out of all people to pull us back to the game, but no, fair call.
So if you look, the Patriarch's been removed. It looks like an entire unit of Gaunts was pulled around that objective. So now we've got the Vet Squad and the Knights pretty much firmly holding there. Looks like Old One Eye and the Gaunts have killed the rest of the conscripts and are now coming in for that bottom objective.
Now he's going for the infantry squads. It looks like this will be an interesting choice by Jeremy what he does now. Does he hunker down on that objective and maybe just park the Knight there and then move the Death Watch out? Or I think he's better off doing it the other way, honestly. And maybe trying to go for that Malanthrope in the back. Move 12 inches there, shoot into the Gaunts, charge into the Malanthrope, turn that off, -1 off, and then have a big shredding turn in turn 5 and 6. Oh, this
This is turn 5.
Turn
gone.
6. In turn 6, yeah.
The Malanthrope. Oh, the Malanthrope's still there.
Yeah, it's up the top.
Up
He's
the
at
top.
the very top.
Like I don't think he's going to be able to get to it.
I mean, if he moves twice and he uses the charge
yeah.
move, he charges the Gaunts and he charges the Malanthrope, uses the Consolidates, it's possible, but he need a big charge. And even if he doesn't, he just goes into the Gaunts.
I mean, the Deathwatch player does still have some options. I think it's really gone south for him now, but he could, depending on what kind of wraps happen here, if any wraps happen, like the Vet Squad can easily blow away like a squad of Gaunts a turn.
Yeah.
It's really what he's going to be able to do with the Knight. Does he move it up to try and go after like that little blob in the top, or does he back up his veterans and risk facing off against Old One Eye?
And now that we were talking about ground control before, that becomes very relevant. This is essentially Erik's second last turn, so he's got to think. He's going to try and go for 4.
He's got no ground control points so far.
Well, of course, they scored at the end of the game. So all he needs to do,
of course, but like.
So right now he's trying to sit on 4. He's definitely going to get the one at the back with the Neurothrope on it. Absolutely 100% Lily. The one at the top he's most likely going to hold, and the one at the bottom is still contested, but he looks like in a good position to get it. The one in the middle is the one I think if he wants to take it off him is the one he needs to go for.
One thing he could do is if he takes that one in the middle, he clears out that entire Gaunt squad, sends the Knight up to kill the Malanthrope, hopefully with a lucky charge to get a headhunter point. You could move an infantry squad back all the way, and then because Jeremy has the bottom of the final turn, he can just move, even just the company commander, but definitely an infantry squad onto that bottom objective, and then he'll have 3 objectives with a headhunter point, which might swing the game in his favor.
Exactly what I was thinking, Pablo.
I actually think Erik, who's generally, we've seen it most of this game, been very good with his trailing back of units, appears, and look, there might be another angle here, but there looks like plenty of space there to get a Knight through. I don't.
It's just the distance. That's the problem. So that's most likely 20 about 20 inches away.
Yeah, but I mean, Erik could have just put one more Gaunt there, and we wouldn't even be talking about charging the Malanthrope.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be an option.
Like,
That's true.
I think I don't know if it's an issue. We'll soon find out. But I mean, we've now talked about potentially doing that charge, which shouldn't, in my opinion, be an option because it should be blocked.
Yeah.
Another thing the Knight might. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
Oh, right. I was just going to say that is very indicative of Tyranids in general, that small mistakes can punish you very heavily, and you can see how fast Erik is trying to play because he has to, and little things like that will just slip through.
Yep.
Well, they've got an hour left, and they're at the bottom. They're at the
bottom of turn 5.
They're about to start the bottom of 5. So they've got 51 minutes on the clock.
Oh, so they're still top of 5. I thought it looked like Erik had said he was done, but no, he hasn't had his assault phase yet. So.
What are the units at the bottom left of the
One Eye
Knight?
goes.
So we've just been asked what the unit at the bottom left of the Knight is. That is a veteran squad.
Veteran squad.
So that's got 3 Cyclone Missile Launcher Terminators, 1 Vanguard Veteran, 1 Biker, and then 5 guys with Storm Bolters and Storm Shields.
Yep. This is look, it's a tight game. I think. Look, if we're looking at the secondaries, both of them chose ground control. So that could end up being a very swingy secondary. Look, Erik is 100%, in my opinion, locked down the top center and the left. So this one and this one, they're Erik's. There's nothing changing there. I think old One Eye is going to be able to bully anything over here that's currently there with the turn that's remaining. So I can't see Erik not having 3. The question, and on the flip side, Jeremy has this one locked down as well. So it's whether or not it's a 4-1 or a 3-2. If as we said before, if Jeremy can clear that middle objective, and I
think he can. I would say that probably I'm expecting 3-2 on ground control. Jeremy's got 4 on Reaper, which means that it is coming down to old school. And I mean, he's going to get 2 out of that. I don't think he can get 3.
I'd like to point out something I just noticed.
There's another option for Jeremy.
Do you guys see the blue? So it's right under the shadow, but the blue Gene Stealer Cult character is on that objective. So taking that gets him the kill. That gets him the headhunter point as well. As well as he takes away a ground control, gets hold, possibly hold more, and a headhunter. That's possibly a 4-point swing.
So it's also worth pointing out, Jeremy hasn't updated secondaries at all. You'll notice that there's no Reaper, which we already knew was probably going to happen at the end, but also he hasn't updated headhunter, and we know he's killed at least 1.
So there's 5 points here for Jeremy we're not seeing.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So look, this is a lot closer than it looks like right now. Oh, it is close. It's only 4 points, but Jeremy could actually be 1 point up right now.
Yeah, so I would say it's fair to assume that based on the Gene Stealers that got dropped, they were an 18-man, so they're pretty much a Reaper point almost by themselves. There is still a ton of Gaunts though. Like that's still a lot of Gaunts. He might legitimately not get full Reaper.
Well,
I would be shocked, honestly. There's no way he doesn't basically clear a Gaunt squad each turn for the next 2 turns. I mean, if he doesn't, then he's just totally out of the game. But he has... I mean, he's at least killed that full Gene Stealer unit. He has killed a decent number of other Gaunts. I would be surprised if he didn't have 3 Reaper.
I would be absolutely astonished if he doesn't max that Reaper. I think
does the librarian have Beacon and Jealous? Because that leaves him with a few other options too, right? He can slingshot that veteran squad to a number of places if he does.
He needs them in the middle to get those Gaunts and push him off mats.
This turn for sure, but then he still has one more turn that he just gives him a little more mobility if he has it. And I'm not saying it's the right option, but it's an option.
I don't know offhand what his things have taken, so he could steal that far left objective with the Beacon and Jealous.
On top of that, I think he needs to put the OBSEC on that middle objective. Otherwise, look, you see there's still probably 2 completely untouched Gaunts. He could walk 50 Gaunts onto it and just swamp it, charge those Death Watch, and force him to either be wrapped there and not get to shoot them, or teleport out and give up the objective.
For sure.
All right, Jeremy, I think I would probably ignore that mount up after all.
Yeah, I would too as well.
Move the Death Watch over to the left. Yeah, move the Death Watch over to the left, and threaten a charge on that closest middle turnaround squad. Move the Knight 12 inches directly towards One Eye. Charge the Knight into that same Gaunt squad. Shoot the veterans into the middle Gaunt line. Wipe them all out. And then next turn, on the final turn, threaten to kill Old One Eye, contest the bottom objective, and then wipe out the final unit of Gaunts on the left, maybe with infantry or with the Knight, whatever you have, basically.
I say there's just been a big spanner thrown in the works. So can you draw a line here for this unit of Gaunts? And then this unit of Gaunts has just wrapped 2 guardsmen in this infantry squad. They can't be shot. I think that's the probably nail in the coffin.
So for the Death Watch can't shoot this unit off that objective. They have to fight them off the objective, which isn't impossible by any stretch of the imagination, but
they're the only unit within 12 inches for the Stormbolters. Yeah. So he's the only one they were likely to wipe in one turn.
They can still charge them though. They can Stormbolter one unit and charge the other.
Which is exactly what they have to do. But they're not going to
The
kill
Knight has
30.
to charge that unit anyways.
The Knight has to charge now as well, because they're not going to kill 30 Gaunts with 10 veterans. It's not going to happen.
Well, that unit is well below 30 Gaunts at this point, I would expect.
So it starts from here.
Arg's old one, I would kill the Knight. The thing is,
So he's got 22
They're nowhere near
left.
each other.
He's got 22 models left in that Termagant unit.
That old One Eye is not touching that Knight unless the Knight goes for old One Eye.
I think is what you need to do personally.
All right, so Jeremy's got two turns to deal with it. I just don't see him clearing that gaunt screen.
It looks like Jeremy pulled those two infantry guys that got wrapped.
He must have popped on combat.
Yeah.
Morale. Looks like he lost them to morale. So now he just has to backtrack that Wyvern, and I think he's fine.
Yep, so it's back on, guys.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
It's like Jeremy's moving now.
Very good, but he's got options, I guess.
His turn now.
He has a chance. He's fighting for points, but I think it's plausible that he does manage to stick in. It's just these last couple turns are going to be really rough if Erik is getting kill more, hold more bonus points.
For sure, yeah.
So we're into the bottom of turn 5. I've just updated Reaper to be full 4 because they've said it was full, so those scores are a little closer to the money.
That's what I expected.
I'm not going to touch the Headhunter, which I know is at least 1, but because, well...
There were 2 characters over by that right side objective, weren't there?
No, it was just just a Patriarch.
It was just the Patriarch, I believe.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a second.
Yeah.
Second one over there.
And Erik has capped Recon. So he's got 4 points for Recon. That's done. So all we've got left is ground control, which he's left. So Jeremy's left the Knight where it was. So he's like, nah, this is my objective. I ain't going off it. And he's setting those Death Watch after the Gaunts. So what have we got left? We have Death Watch unit. Sorry, you go.
Oh, I was going to say, did he get first strike on his old school?
Who had old school?
I thought Erik did.
Oh, he did not.
He did not. I'd also like to point out he's just switched to Knight.
Erik has old school. Yeah.
The Knight has pushed up now, and he's put a character, probably his Watch Captain or his Librarian, with a jump pack on that objective instead.
Okay.
Here comes that Knight.
So Erik's probably going to pick up. Actually, Erik has actually got decent odds on getting kill more this turn. He's picked up two squads.
Yep.
And he is obviously going to get hold more. There's almost nothing he can do to get hold more on him. So he's going to be up to 20, and right now Jeremy's sitting on 15. Jeremy's going to get killed. He's going to get hold. Can he get that character? I wonder what that charge is from the Death Watch into that blue character above the line of sight blocking terrain. This guy from our circling. It looks like it's probably about a 7 or an 8 for me. Yeah, this guy.
I'm also a little curious how many command points each of them have, because the ability to fight twice is potentially really big for either player here.
For sure.
The Knight,
just thinking for the Death Watch.
Did Death Watch have a fight twice?
It's not the Knight, it's the Death Watch. Yeah.
Yeah, because if he charges both, even if he fails against the second, he kills the Gaunts and then overruns into that character. Then he chooses to fight again, kills the character. And now he's on the objective, and he's got the...
That's exactly right. Well,
and that's the danger of...
So what he could do, if he's within 6... if the Gaunts are within 6 inches of the Termagants, what he could do is gun down those Termagants only mildly. You don't need to kill many of them. Because what you want to do is you want to charge the veterans in, and then charge the Knight in, get the Knight as close as humanly possible, and have him declared the charge on the blue guy. Get the veterans to kill out the rest of the Termagants. Use your pilot and sorry. Actually, no, it's not going to work. Never mind. Because he has to get 6 inches. He could go pilot and consolidate towards and then attack again into the blue guy and take him out as well. They've got 2 command points remaining each, by the way.
So I just want to point out something to the people watching at home. This is actually the danger of stringing out models like this. Maximum coherency. This Death Watch unit can roll like a 10-inch charge, go directly through. Yeah, go directly through that God squad,
Yep.
And then essentially get a free 12-inch or 8-inch or 10-inch move with consolidations. And, that could potentially really ruin Erik. And then this knight obviously is going in there as well.
Well,
So
he's just shot into that gaunt, and he's killed all he's killed all of them. He's just shedded the whole unit.
I don't know if I
don't know.
I mean, I get that you need to shoot them, but now they have a much longer charge.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that move.
But I don't know if I like that move.
Yeah. It's maybe not the choice I would have made. I don't like that lengthening the charge like that, but he may be thinking that like if he doesn't get that charge, then he's kind of out of the game anyways. So there may be a certain win big, lose big going there.
Well, there might be a take the points you can get. You can get that unit down with the shooting. Take the points you can get because this is such a close game.
Yeah.
And this knight has options still. So the knight has options to charge on the top of the board.
Absolutely.
In an awkward spot.
Yeah, they are. They could be charged and wrapped. Like what I said before, he could charge 30 to 40 to 50 gaunts into those Death Watch and just wrap them on that objective. And then he either has to jump himself out or be stuck there and giving up ground control for nothing.
I don't believe so, Master Strider. I believe that all of the units are out of combat at this point.
Yeah,
So,
I don't think the only guard unit left might be company commanders and that Wyvern. I don't think there's any other guard
there's
left
just
on
a
the board.
Wyvern.
Yeah.
So basically, there's a Wyvern left on the board. There's a Deathwatch character. Must admit, I have no idea what it is. Here.
Probably the Watchmaster.
That'll be the Watchmaster, yeah.
Yep. Then we've got, from a Tyranny perspective, there are two characters sitting in this little spot here, and you just saw the
gaunts get picked up.
The gaunts get picked up, and Erik was just picked them up. A couple of gaunts went flying. I'll grab those for you, mate. And as I said, there's 2 CP left each. Now, went over and Erik is in reasonable spirits. Jeremy, when Matt Morrisoli came over as well and asked how the game was going, Erik said, one more time. Jeremy said that he stuffed up, use a different word, but we'll go with stuffed up, and in the first couple of turns.
By staying too static.
Yeah. So the tone at the table has it in Erik's favor, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But as far as they're concerned,
tell him. He's apparently number one in Australia right now.
Oh, we got to win. Oh, sorry, I was just wondering what the hell you were going on about. So I'm at number 1 Morrisoli, who lost against Erik last round. Just got a big 32-point win. So he's on 5 wins, 1 loss.
And there
going into day 2.
There are some chunky wins in there. He's got a 40 to 41.
Yeah. So because we don't break to a top 8. And then have like knockout style, like some of the big events in the US have. It's just 8 rounds of a gauntlet Swiss. What can happen is Erik, for example, because I still put money on Erik pulling this out. Erik could go 7 wins, lose in the 8th round, and
get jumped.
Yeah.
It feels bad, but holy crap! If somebody wins this event, they owned it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, anything that goes 8 rounds
it looks like the veterans made the charge.
They're about to pick up a headhunter point.
Yep.
If he has CP,
but
if he has 3 command points left to fight twice with
doesn't.
them,
He only has
could
2.
potentially.
Yeah, they've only got 2 each.
He could potentially take the Magnus and most of those gaunts off the table, and that would be really big.
More this turn. He did shoot the gaunts in that L building from the knights. So the knight can still charge those
Okay.
So he might be able to kill 3 units this turn.
Yeah, and I think he needs to, because I guarantee
useful.
He killed 2 infantry squads and might have been a 1 or 2 company commanders for the Nids lost. So I don't quite know where the characters sit, but I would suggest it's probably killed 3 units. So it's almost impossible for Jeremy to get kill more, but he can at least get parity.
Yeah, and that's what he's really looking for, is to not fall further behind.
Yeah.
Because if he can just keep parity, he can actually sit in a pretty decent place at this point.
Well, if he keeps parity and denies ground control, he can win this game. Absolutely.
So do you think? All right, so he's just removed that character.
We've just had a
And
couple of points chucked in. Because Jeremy's up to 16 now.
Yeah.
so they've updated Headhunter. So they've done there's 2 Headhunter points and 4 for
Reaper.
They haven't updated the primaries as yet. So I'm not sure.
I imagine they are sitting at 20 for Jeremy and 18 for Erik right here, not counting Killmore, Holdmore.
Yeah. Yep. I would. So that's it. The 6 for secondaries, I think, is on the money. The primaries, he's got at least kill 1 and hold 1, which puts his total up to 18 apiece. And then, depending on who gets to kill more, hold more. So hold more is going to go to Erik. It's going to put him up to 19.
Yeah, it's about to get chucked in.
Kill more. Yeah. All right, let's stop guessing and just wait 5 seconds.
So Jeremy just got 2 points. He's up to 18 himself.
Yeah. So yes, they've just entered the kill 1 hold more. So kill 1 hold 1, and they're just currently discussing which units got killed. And Erik got kill more hold more.
Yeah.
So it is
2 point difference, guys.
Yeah, 20 to 18. 20 to 18. Old school. I don't look. He'll get 1 for line breaker for old school.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He'll get Erik will get 1 for line breaker for old school.
And whatever ground control he picks up.
Whatever ground control. So look, he's going to get 3 at least for ground control, so that's 4. And then he's going to probably. Oh, it's
Is he going to get 3 points for gun control, though?
Yeah, it's possible he doesn't. Depending on what happens here with
Old
the
school
gods.
should.
Sorry.
Old one, I should pick up that
100%
Wyvern.
old one, I guess it.
That gets him his kill at the end.
I think the right play here for Erik is to wrap all those veterans on that objective.
Yes.
Don't charge them, just wrap them.
Just wrap them. Yeah.
Although didn't Jeremy take you'd have to obviously didn't take the heroic intervention.
No, he hasn't got a black shield.
He hasn't got the black shields. Okay, yep.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to heroically intervene. But yeah, because if he doesn't wrap them, I mean, we already just saw two or three turns now. This one squad of vets is just like wiped out a Gaunt squad over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then all of a sudden now you have this knight that can move up to that top objective. And if all those Gaunts are gone, now you're looking at possible a 3 cap for the end of the game for Jeremy.
Or those
That's a
veterans
big
can move up.
swing because that means he's holding more
Yeah, you're right,
and
probably.
getting
Those veterans are obstacle.
And the knight could move on to the middle objective depending on how the shooting goes. It's a very intriguing little setup we got going on here.
Well, I love
kill Old One Eye.
I love that this game is so good. We haven't talked about stats.
We've talked a little bit about stats.
Well,
but it's a good.
yeah,
We've been wanting to see. I don't know how many podcasts or how many episodes of we've heard the praises of Deathwatch and the art and where they're coming through. And this is really showing it though. I mean, we're all right, regardless of win or lose for Jeremy. Jeremy's got 5 wins so far with Deathwatch at a 140-ish player, 145 player event with some of the biggest names in Australia. We have, he is one of the ETC players. Erik, who is playing against right now, is an Australian ETC player. So these are 2 Australian ETC players right now. Jeremy is the captain of the Victorian, which is state in Australia, for those who are unsure, team for our ANZ Team Championships. So we do an ETC style event, not like how the ATC do it, so the American do it for ATC. We do it as each state in Australia gets a team of 8 and New Zealand gets a team. So it's a slightly different format. But yes, Victoria won it last year. Last year, and Jeremy was the coach. Jeremy was the coach.
I haven't seen. Yeah, look, I reckon he is going to charge those guys, but he should have moved. So I think what he wants to do. What is this watch captain down here?
Yeah.
I think he wants to wrap the watch captain too. Old One Eye's going to go smash that with it.
Yep.
He's going to smash it to absolute bits. But what he wants, he could leverage that watch captain to not get shot and still be on that objective.
Yeah, I think.
But he's not going to get more guys on it than the Death Watch have.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think, well, personally, I think concede the middle objective at this point, and guarantee 3 for ground control. I would probably look at putting the Gaunt unit something like that. And
Blocking
then,
off the Knight as well.
And then charge the character down the bottom and wrap him.
Yeah.
And basically then he can't shoot the Gaunts off, and he can charge the Gaunts, but
That's
what
fine.
do you do?
I think that's a fine trade.
I think that's probably what we're going to see happen, but we'll...
What do you guys think? What's
he's
the
rolling
predictions here?
dice. He's rolling dice.
I think Erik made a mistake.
Yep, what do you think?
Shooting phase now. He's not in the moving phase anymore.
Yeah.
You have this Gaunt unit sitting in this orange L-shaped building on the top right. You definitely could have used that Gaunt unit to just wrap the Knight. You obviously have to stay outside of 3 inches because the Knight's probably a character.
Yeah.
But I think you definitely got to wrap the Knight there. The charge on the character on the bottom right, and just hope that your Gaunt survive and take that objective away from him.
Yeah, that's fair.
For the final turn, which is tough. But I mean, those Gaunts are just sitting there not doing anything. He's going to get kill more. He's going to kill more than you on the final turn.
Keeping in mind he can still do exactly what we just mentioned doing in the assault phase.
It's true.
It's true, yeah.
So, look, we'll wait and see what these Gaunts do. If these Gaunts charge the character down the bottom, I reckon the Gaunts will charge the character down the bottom, near where Old One Eye is.
Well, we're into the charge
wrap.
phase. On One Eye's just made the charge.
So
He's taking a wound on Overwatch.
Yeah.
And here we go with the Gaunts.
Yeah, so Gaunts are charging in. So I guess the question now is, how does he string it?
How does he string it? His guitar. He's not moving the guys at the top.
I wonder if he's just decided from a pace perspective he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think his intention is just to wrap the character so that they can't be shot by the Death Watch.
He's actually strung a second unit in.
Second
He's got
unit in.
both units of Gaunts touching that watch captain. Holy crap, I can deny him a lot. Well, what has he got to shoot now with the Death Watch and the Knight? What can they even shoot?
It's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a clever sausage right there. He's
That was a brilliant move from Erik.
He's even using the charge move to move away from everybody. Oh no, he saw it. He saw it. He saw what he needs to do. He's fixing it up. There we go. Just cutting off the board.
I'm actually quite confused about. I think the unit we're seeing being moved goes like that.
No, it's two units, dude.
Well, he started moving this one, and then he came back to that one.
No, that's one unit. So this unit starts here. Circle this unit here. So it starts there and goes around.
Yeah. Well, what are these models that just moved?
The other one.
What are these models?
That's this unit. That's this unit.
Where's that? How's that
So
joining?
crazy.
Underneath the line of sight blocking terrain.
I don't know what's happening anymore. There's still probably like 60 Termagants. It might be 8 units for all I know at this point.
But honestly, like,
Crazy.
look at what a good unit, look at what a good player can do with Termagants. Just putting it out there. Like, look what you can do.
for sure.
It's one thing that people forget, that this is a game about board control in most places, and Tyranids are really good at doing that.
He's showing us right now. He does have guys out of line of sight. Yeah, I told you, I was spot on, baby. Why do you doubt me, Josh? That's it.
One other thing I would point out in terms of Erik's list, while this is a very powerful list, obviously played by a very good player, it's going to struggle a lot if it runs up against Orc hordes. If this runs into 180 boys, it's not going to beat that.
Yeah, look, I've been talking to Erik, and he actually fears the Orc meta, because the Orcs are legitimately something that can take off, like, 1 unit of boys, placed correctly, can take off 3 units of Gaunts, attacking twice. And that's not something you can take.
Nope. He doesn't have the
Erik versus Liam, if that's something that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, I think this is last roll of the dice with this army. He's played this archetype for 6 months and hasn't dropped a game. And he's like, I have the championships coming up. Do I go off the wall and just completely blindside everybody, or go with what's brought me to the dance? And he's decided to go with what brought him to the dance.
Yeah, no, and it's doing well for him.
Check out those scores.
Wow.
Wow.
So they still haven't put in ground control yet, but Erik got 3 for old school,
Yeah.
He got Warlord. I can't remember who the Warlord was, but Warlord, Linebreaker.
commander.
Yeah, Warlord, Linebreaker, and Last Strike. So we got 3 there. And yes, so the units, there is a couple of gaunts in here that is joining that up. I'm still actually not 100% certain where the units end and where the others begin. They are different. They're slightly different colors. We can't see it very well from a top-down view. They did look a little different on the bottom down. So when at the table. Yes, so pretty much we've just got the one mistake, or another mistake I should say, from Jeremy is that Wyvern that was here was too close to the character, because what he's done, old One Eye is basically engaged both. He's killed the Wyvern, but he's still engaged with the other dude.
So he can't even shoot. He can't even freaking shoot on One Eye. So with one watch captain, he's made his entire army unshootable.
Yeah.
So just take that in for a second. This is gone into the bottom of the last turn, and with one watch captain, he has made an entire army.
This Death Watch unit literally has nothing to shoot.
And so with the Knight, the Knight can move around.
It doesn't look like he has any teleport homers left either, which is too bad, because otherwise that would be hilarious.
They would have all been placed in his deployment zone, and they would have been zoned out easily.
So the Knight's the only thing that's going to be able to get around to do anything. The question is, what is he going to do? I mean, Jeremy said you've got me, Eric's got him very convincingly, which I think we can see by those scores.
For sure.
Yeah, that's brutal.
So, I think Jeremy's.
They've just had a hug, boys. They've just hugged. I think they've just called it.
All right.
Yeah.
I think Jeremy's last major mistake here was not abandoning his home objective sooner. He definitely could have moved his infantry squads away, moved in advance. That whatever Death Watch Watchmaster, whatever character that is on the bottom, that basically cost him the game. That could have just not been there.
Yeah.
And then in the final turn, because you do have that bottom turn, you can shoot for all these objectives and maybe steal a win.
Yeah, absolutely. So they've just shook, they just hugged, and those are the final scores, guys. 32-23.
So that's a
phenomenal game.
That was a very good game. With how it played out. Like we said, I think the Death Watch player just needed to be more aggressive early. I think that was really what killed him. There's a couple of tricks he may have been able to pull mid-game, but I think it was when that Gene Stealer unit rolled the 6 for the deploy, that really kind of, I think, nailed it.
That was big. And also just sort of the locations on the board when they came down. He either need to be more aggressive or less aggressive, because he kind of was in that middle ground that gave him a perfect target for the Gene Stealers, but also was not putting enough pressure elsewhere to stop Erik from scoring the points.
Look, I really want to know what killed that Death Watch
first turn.
Turn 1.
Yeah. I do too.
It had to be Biovores. Like, there's no
had to be mortal wounds.
He
must have rolled hot.
But look,
that must have just been it.
It's 8. There's like 14. There's 13 or 14 wounds in one of those squads. 2 Biovores in 2 turns, killing that many. I still find it hard to believe.
Yeah, no, there's something else involved, but I I don't know. Like, it just seemed pretty crazy that he just scooped so many.
Well, he also had the spore field, didn't he? But that should
he did.
Unless he got some spore fields in there, blew him up. Yeah, that's possible. So we're going to ask for the players which ones we want to be interviewed. Which guy? Well, of course, we usually give preference to the guy who's won. But we've had Erik on here as commentary as well. Already. We've already had Erik on for an interview.
I would actually love to hear Jeremy's commentary and what his plan was.
Thanks,
well, I'll ask him if he's willing to be on, but yeah, we'll get him.
Yeah, sometimes when you lose a game, you're not super interested in talking about it.
Yeah, we always give him the option. Always.
Yeah.
And Jeremy's a good mate of mine. Actually, yeah, so I'm sure he'd be pretty happy to. We came up
He's got a
with
beautiful last name.
Sorry?
He's got a beautiful last name.
I'm going to
Marigold,
introduce him as Jerry Marigold and just see what he does. We'll see.
Yeah, if we could get both of them here to chat with Ethan just for a couple minutes, that would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be fantastic.
Looks like Jeremy's up for it. He's still just having a little bit of debrief with Erik about where things went wrong.
Sure. I mean, because like it's as important. They want to understand what happened to the game just as much as we do.
So these are
taking a minute to
these are both
process it.
ETC players as well, and you don't get to that caliber without learning what went wrong from the other person's point of view, what you could have done differently.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like
Yes, Pablo would say they're good players.
yes. And that's absolutely like a thing that for those of you who are looking to get better at the game, who are watching the stream and are trying to improve, talk to your opponent after the game.
100%.
That's a huge piece of advice is just say like, hey, what did I do wrong? What do you think the failure point was? That's something we've talked about in our podcast, and it's huge for improving your game.
And past that, it builds the community. You get more friends, you get more connections.
Oh yeah.
And it's part of what makes the game great.
Yep. Because, yeah, that's not something we have specifically discussed because we tend to talk more about the mechanical side of things, but, like, meeting players, building community, all of that, not only is that going to make you more popular, it's going to make you a better gamer, it's going to improve the players in your area along with you. It's really big.
Mm-hmm.
Redbeard86, thank you so much for the subscription, brother.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, brilliant. A couple of things to plug.
Yes, that is correct, Naughty. Butcher's build does not stack with Reaper. None of the Asterisk objectives can be stacked with other things, with the exception of Reaper allowing to count its models while you are counting another thing.
All right, we have Jeremy Marigold here to join us.
Jeremy Marigold.
So, Jeremy, how you doing, man? How you feeling after that game?
Good, dude. How you going?
Yeah, I'm great. What did you think? And we freaking love that game, by the way. So we're joined by Pablo, we're joined by Peter, and we're joined by Sean Morgan.
Hey, guys.
And they've all watched your entire game.
Sweet.
Hey, man.
I'm not sure if you're happy or sad about that.
Come on, Jeremy.
How you going, man?
So we've had a bit of a discussion about how things could have changed in that game. If you had a complete do-over right now, what would you change?
Well, I didn't know that the spore mines, like, that they had such a reach, that the way Erik deployed his spore field. So that's what killed the veteran squad on the left flank on turn one.
There we go.
And then he did about half the wounds to them. And then in turn two, I kind of moved back a bit, kind of trying to bubble against the Steelers, preparing for them. And then he hit me with another squad of the mines, but I didn't know they were there.
Okay.
So had I known that he had that quantity of mines, I would have just had them screened by the scripts.
Yeah.
But then once I was at that deficit, I'm like, I can't win a grind out at this point. So I moved the vets up on the right flank to try to... I guess I wanted the Gene Steelers to fail. I was hoping that they would come down and fail, whether they failed their cult ambush or didn't do enough damage. But once I lost that vet squad, that was pretty much it. So,
yeah, well, we were thinking. So we knew. So we were of the opinion that Erik left a weaker flank. On that side, and we thought he's going to try and bait him in. He's left a one primer, kind of pissing in the wind behind only like two termagants. But then that L-shaped ruin is the absolute like cherry on top for ignoring Overwatch and charging out with the Gene Steelers. So when we saw that, we're like, I wonder who's trying to play who here. When you put that up, so Pablo had a good point when he said he could have done that with the Knight, and because the Knight bounces off the Steelers a lot better than the veterans do.
That probably was the better play. I think that at the time I thought the Knight was my condition to deal with old One Eye. I felt like the Knight using the craft stratagem to get exploding sixes was the only way I was going to be able to kill old One Eye, which I genuinely think was probably true. But the problem was that because he was scoring the bonus every turn, because he moved like 3 characters onto the 3 mid objectives, I felt like the status quo was just going to be a bleeding loss for me, where I'm losing like 1 point on primer every turn, even if I'm killing more. Like I get kill more and hold 1, he gets hold more and bonus, and maybe kill 1. So it's like I felt like I was just going to be getting ebbed away. Having said that, the veteran squad play was a mistake, so I wouldn't have done that.
We were thinking if you had a complete do-over, all 3 veteran squads behind the Knight, pushing right into the center of the board, and just balls out, go for it. Is that anything you'd consider?
I think possibly. I mean, I think I initially, because I played against the Plague Bear army earlier today, and he came at me, and I kind of held him off and then moved in later into the game. But knowing that Erik played so cagey, I didn't know he was going to play like that, right? If I knew he was going to be so defensive, I think that a more aggressive deployment would have been better, for sure.
Fair enough. Awesome. Hey, gentlemen, any questions for Jeremy?
Yes. So, Jeremy.
Oh, go ahead, Pablo.
I want to say that is a beautiful set of hair you got there.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Flowing black locks.
Anytime, dude. You should come down. Yeah, go on.
I've been watching you all tournament, and Deathwatch. You've been doing really well with Deathwatch, and I actually really like your Deathwatch list. But how do you like your list now after this performance? Do you think you change it up a little bit, or do you think you just keep it exactly the same?
I think the list is as far as Deathwatch primary, I quite like it. I can't fault the squad configuration. I really like just the way that the 3 Terminators is really important to have the 2-up saves. And you have to have the Vanguard Vet and Biker. So I feel like the squad loadout for the Vets is good. The Watch Captain's really good value just with all the rerolls he gives. The Libby's just good because he holds the beacon. So he's the only character the Deathwatch can have that have a 12-inch or more movement. Yeah. So he can shoot around the board and then teleport a unit to him. So I really like the Deathwatch Battalion. The Knight's really good. The Krast Crusader's insane. The Guard Battalion's probably the most questionable element of the list.
It bleeds points, doesn't it?
It can,
It bleeds points, yeah.
And the Wyvern was really good against the Plague Bearer, Liabi's Plague Bearers. But in every other game, the Wyvern's really underperformed. So I'd probably drop the Wyvern, to be honest.
Yep. And would you drop back to a min-loyal 32, or do you like the conscripts?
I like the conscripts because with the Valhallan pistol relic, you can kind of just keep them around, not spend too much CP defending them.
So would you consider dropping the Wyvern for 90 conscripts?
Yeah, potentially. I'd say so.
Yeah.
Maybe even some more Deathwatch, like a small unit of bikes or something. Yeah. I don't know. It's just the Wyvern just isn't pulling its weight.
But do you know why you lost this game?
Why is that?
You played it a month too early. the beta bolter rules come in.
Yeah. If you have beta bolters, game over. Different game.
Yeah. And then you just wall him off with conscripts, stay at 24 inches, don't get wrapped, and you win.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit curious, Jeremy. Are you specifically avoiding taking a Black Shield in the list, or is there just not room for them?
When I saw I was writing the squad configuration, I like the Black Shield rule, but I feel like it's abusable. It's more abusable than it is abusive, if that makes sense. Like if you're versing a good opponent that knows you have to heroically intervene, because it's not just an option to heroically intervene. You actually have to.
Yeah, you must.
Which means they can get you to go into combat, and then you don't get to Overwatch like you normally would. And Overwatch with the Watchmaster can be really devastating. Like I killed 12 Gene Stealers in Overwatch earlier in the event. But if they can just kind of jump in front of you and then you have to go into them, then they totally avert Overwatch. So
the biggest reason I don't like it is you can pull people off objectives.
That's true as well.
I can pull you off an objective with it. Or I can pull a number of models off the objective and take it away from you that way.
But there is merit to what you could do for people that are interested. You could take one Black Shield in a unit and play that unit as the counter assault defensive unit.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And have other units that are more have a more forward deployment. So you could run one Black Shield or.
Because I saw Alex Harrison, he played with the 3 Black Shields with his list at what was it last Chance Open, and he loved them.
I believe that was last year.
He ran them with Thunderhammers as a counter knight option, because it would just mean when knights came into the unit, he actually had a way to do wounds. It's interesting hearing both sides for the Black Shield. I'm a really big fan of Deathwatch, so just seeing you play, it's quite fantastic. And your last name is beautiful. Marigolds are wonderful flowers.
Thanks, man. It's
he's invented.
I'd have to go on my shirt.
He's ruined that for you, by the way.
That's all right.
Go.
No, but thanks for the kind words. I'm a bit disappointed with a couple of little errors I did make, but Erik's a phenomenal player, so all the credit to Erik. He could have played it in a way that gave me a much more defined and pronounced win condition, but he definitely made me work for it and forced a mistake. So kudos to Erik, and hope he goes forward and takes it down.
Well, you're still definitely in contention. This is still a massive gauntlet to run tomorrow, and you've got 2 that will still be top table games.
Yep.
Because who's Eric's got to play now? He has
Hayden or Simon.
or Simon. They're the only two options. It's Simon's dropped a game, so if Hayden's won, it's Hayden next.
Yep.
So that'll be Demons versus Tyranids on probably. Actually, Eric's definitely going to be on stream tomorrow morning, unless we want to play the second top table first, so we always get an original top table. We don't have to see Erik possibly 3 times. Any final questions, guys?
I think Jeremy hit most of the stuff I was curious about.
Yeah,
it was really cool
it's
seeing
really
the two of you play. It was a great game. Sorry you didn't manage to take it, but...
What kind of beer are you going to drink tonight, Jeremy?
I'm gonna have a craft beer. Last night I had a this weird sour beer, which was a bit iffy. But tonight I'm gonna keep it nice and tasty.
Well, as an Oregonian, I respect that very much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate all the feedback.
Not a problem.
And all the best going forward as well with this kind of stuff.
All class, Jeremy.
For sure.
Fantastic.
You too, bud.
Jeremy.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Adam. See you,
No
boys.
problems, man. Good job. Legit. Good job. All right. We will jump Jeremy back onto here. He's a fucking lovely guy, Jeremy. We've got a lot of time for him. All right. Anything you guys want to talk about, or should we wrap this baby up?
I think this really just showcases that, like, player skill is a huge part of every match. Even when you can say, Army X or Army Y has an advantage, it really comes down to the guys at the table at the end of the day.
100%. It's the jockey, not the horse, especially in 40K. At the top tables.
All right, so we've been really naughty this stream. So we're going to quickly plug some of our sponsors.
Well, we can say goodbye to the gentleman.
Yeah, and then we'll plug. All right, cool. All right.
Also, thank you so much, guys. We will have, for those still watching, we still have 45 viewers. We will have the Chapter Tactics stream on again during the final game tomorrow, talking more crap, more analysis, list analysis, stats analysis. It's going to be fantastic. Please join us tomorrow.
So just a reminder, tomorrow is only 2 games, not the 3 that we've had the last 2 days. Also, the lunch break is slightly shorter, but we'll be doing. We end the stream and then restart it, so as you guys get all notifications. So if you are watching us right now, make sure you hit the follow button on the Twitch channel, so as when we go live tomorrow in the morning and the afternoon, you get notified. We also do plugging wherever we can, like Facebook and all that jazz.
Chapter Tactics, watch it.
Listen to it.
Listen to it, that's right.
In the finest hour.
In the finest hour. Listen
to it.
40K stats. Go and look at it. Bam.
You listen to it.
And listen to it.
Listen to it.
Listen to it in your heart. Let it sing to you.
And also, feel free to chuck some either comments in the chat or head over to the search for Down Under Network on Facebook. We'll probably put some feedback posts up. We've tried a few new things this weekend. While it's still fresh in everyone's mind, we really want to get people's feedback on whether or not they're enjoying. Well, this is the first time we had 6 people commentating a game. There was a few of the guys that came and went, but I think that's pretty epic.
Yeah, and it only got heated once. That's a record.
It basically is.
All right, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We will talk to you tomorrow. I appreciate you, and I love you all.
Right.
Say your goodbyes.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having us on.
Peace out.
You're welcome.
All right, over to plugging. Time to plug it long, plug it hard.
All right.
Army Painter.
Yes, we'll start with Army Painter.
I'll start with Army Painter. They're flashing up right now.
Hashtag get more time to game.
More time for gaming with the Army Painter.
So they have primers, washes, they have paints, they have... I've already gone blank on the stuff that scrolls. We've got to speed up this scroll. Basically...
So they got coloured primers, they have dips, they have shades, they have... So the quick shading method as well.
Yep.
They have all kinds of hobby supplies. They've got everything you need to get your hobby started, to get off the ground and going very quickly to a very good standard. So if you can have more joy enjoying your armies, enjoying your games. So
another quick update on that. So I'll be doing my Orc army using a fair chunk of the Army Painter products.
Just copying other people, Josh.
But the interesting thing, so obviously a lot of our viewers, well probably most of our viewers are from Australia. We have extreme heats and a number of the products, not just Army Painter, but just in general, especially the primers. You want to be very careful about temperatures and humidity and things like that. So I'll make sure that when I'm doing mine and talking through, I'll try my best to explain techniques I use to avoid the potential issues that you can have in Australian weather conditions. People don't think about it, but when it comes to priming, you often do it outside, and it's important to keep up to date with that. So make sure you head over to Facebook, check out the Army Painter, check out the videos they've got from Nick and Anavati from the Knights of the Game Table with the 72-hour marathon of painting a billion orcs.
Over to OTP Terrain, who has been our longest standing sponsor, sponsored us since our first stream. They have stuck with us, and we are quite happy to have them involved. They are lovely people. Emma, and what's their partner's name?
Daniel.
Emma and Daniel, they are a couple. They run it themselves out of Western Australia. Australian enterprise, Australian manufacturing, support locals. And they produce 3D printed terrain, 6mm to 32mm.
Boom, you got it right.
Bang, got it right for once. And so that is everything from Titanicus all the way up to another follow, all the way up to 40k and everything in between. So that's Malifaux, Infinity, all the good stuff, War Machines.
Answered a couple of those questions. What time we're going to start tomorrow? We're going to start at 9 a.m., so same time as yesterday. Answer to, yeah, they'll do. As far as prizes are concerned, they have given us 3 $25 OTP Terrain gift vouchers. We're giving them out. One goes to the MVV, Most Valuable Viewer Award. So basically, if you get involved in the chat, we will make sure that we reward you guys, or girls, or meat popsicles, at the end of the weekend.
Top cheerer for today was Totally Not Panicked. He walks away with 10 Down Under Network dice for being the top cheerer of today.
And they're white ones.
You only got white ones left. Sorry,
That's
bro,
all
that's all you get. But past that, OTP, I feel it's my plug. OTP have got a 15% off deal right now from now until the end of the month. 15% off. Use the code on your order, OTP 15%.
Yep.
15% off your total buy, your total cart. That's fantastic. Jump on board.
www.otpterrain.com.
They're always adding more product and they're always growing their business. They are fantastic people.
And also, it's worth pointing out, it's not, look, obviously we are heavy 40k when it comes to what our content, but they have been bringing out some amazing fantasy-style terrain. They've also been bringing out tiles that work well with the Warhammer Underworlds or Shadespire, tiles. So make sure you head over to them, check them out, give them some love, check out their Facebook page, all that jazz. We will try and get some of the OTP Terrain product on the stream tomorrow, so as you guys can all see it. I think that'll probably do us.
I think that'll do us, guys. We're tired, we're sleepy. I need a shower. I need some food too.
You do stink.
I stink, yes. I'm a festive boy.
All right.
Clock us off. Peace. Have a
Peace.
good night, guys. See you tomorrow. And thank you for all your support. And
Till next time.
Hope you enjoyed the content.
See you tomorrow.
See you later.